the throne of the Mechas. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1351, Meeting the Angel of Light again. Xingchen sighed. Ling Jiu Star cannot afford any mistakes. But what can I do? Support. Duanmu said in a deep voice. Haitian, don't belittle yourself. Now only you can save Ling Jiu Star. Me. Xingchen was surprised. His eyes flashed, and then he understood what Duanmu meant. You mean I take 500 people of the Imperial Royal Guard to support Ling Jiu Star? Yes. Duanmu nodded heavily. I know my request is excessive, but now this is the only way. It's not impossible. Xingchen frowned and thought carefully. The Imperial Royal Guard is the most elite mecha corps in the Empire, among which there are as many as 10 legendary mecha divisions. I personally lead them, and should be able to lift the siege of Ling Jiu Star. However, if I privately mobilize the Royal Guard and leave Xia Xingchen Star, Qin will definitely be furious. Even if Ling Jiu Star is relieved, I can't escape the punishment of deserting my post. Duanmu said. Yes, that's right. Haitian, I'm just talking casually. It's up to you to decide how to do it. On one side is personal safety, and on the other side is Ling Jiu Star. Xingchen didn't think for too long. His eyes flashed with determination. I've decided. Even if I die, I will support Ling Jiu Star. Duanmu stretched out his hand, tightly grasped his old friend's wrist, and said in a deep voice, I'll go with you. If we have to die, we two brothers will die together. Don't talk about death. It's too unlucky. Come and drink. After drinking this pot of wine, we'll set off. Xingchen laughed, his eyes full of open-mindedness of seeing through life and death. This day, the Imperial Royal Guard, led by the captain of the guard Xingchen, a group of 500 people quietly left Xia Xingchen Star, disobeyed military orders, and flew towards Ling Jiu Star. In the Dark Universe, the Star Domain Arc flew towards the Azure Star. Xia Xingchen left the Gold and Silver Star, and decided to follow the teachings of his master Roger, reject the invitation of the Ascendant Alliance, and continue to practice with his own strength, and move forward steadily. Meditation is the best way to pass the time during the long space voyage. In meditation, Xia Xingchen felt that time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, he would leave the Empire and enter the chaotic starfield. When Xia Xingchen was meditating, no one except Li Huamui and a few others could disturb him for any reason. However, under Xia Xingchen's omniscience, Li Huamui stood in front of the meditation room for a long time, constantly wandering in the corridor, looking anxious, like an ant on a hot pot. But the electronic door opened. Xia Xingchen stopped meditating and walked out. My lord. Li Huamui was startled and explained quickly. I didn't mean to disturb you. It's really urgent. Well, tell me, what's the matter? Xia Xingchen nodded slightly. He knew Li Huamui's character. If it wasn't extremely important, she would never come to him. Sir, the Star Domain Arc intercepted a message. It was sent from the Ling Jiu Star. You can read it yourself. Li Huamui opened her mouth, but didn't know how to explain. Ling Jiu Star? Xia Xingchen was slightly startled. This is strange. After taking the message from Li Huamui, Xia Xingchen only took a look. As calm as he was, he couldn't help but change his face. Ling Jiu Star was attacked by the Xianren sect. It's in danger. You know, Zuo Leheng, Hao Xian, and Xia Xingchen's father Xiaoyu, Kirissa, and Popovich are all on Ling Jiu Star. Xia Xingchen's master, apprentice, family, friends, and some of his closest people are all in this place that is known as the safest place in the Milky Way. However, this safest place is now under attack by the Xianren sect. Andre. Xia Xingchen's eyes were burning with anger. From the mouth of the previous envoy of God, Xia Xingchen knew that Andre had been resurrected and became the new envoy of the Xianren sect. Except Andre, there is no one else who can do such a despicable thing. Andre, I will never let the tragedy happen again. Xia Xingchen immediately gave orders, and the Star Arc adjusted its route, turned on the engine at full power, and quickly supported the Coffin Star. The Star Arc was very far away from the Coffin Star at this time. Even at the speed of the star arc, it would take at least a month to reach the coffin star. The only thing to be thankful for is that the database of the star arc recorded that there was a hidden wormhole in the nearby starfield, which led directly to the Chang'an starfield. It can greatly shorten the voyage and reach the coffin star within 3 to 5 days. The star arc turned into a stream of light in the universe and headed straight for the entrance of the wormhole. Then, it entered the wormhole and sailed in the dark subspace. After 40 hours, it passed through the wormhole and arrived in the Chang'an starfield, an empty and desolate space in the universe. High energy reaction. High energy reaction ahead. Mecha detected ahead. That's right, it's a mecha. As soon as a star domain arc left the wormhole and entered the universe, the observer exclaimed. A picture appeared on the big screen. In the dark starry sky, a shining light spot floated in the universe. It was so dazzling, like the brightest star, forming a sharp contrast with the dark background of the universe. The screen zoomed in quickly. It was a mecha emitting light. Behind it were 6 wings of light flashing with brilliant light. It was extremely dazzling, and the light it emitted made it impossible for the eyes to look directly at it. Mecha of light. Who is it? Are you waiting for us? The energy fluctuations emitted by this mecha are incredibly strong. On the star domain arc, the crew members widened their eyes, opened their mouths, and were stunned. This is. Xia Xingchen's pupils suddenly shrank to the size of a needle tip. The appearance of this mecha appeared in his nightmares countless times. Angel of Light. At the other end of the wormhole, waiting for the star arc was the Guardian of the Empire, the Angel of Light Michael. The Angel of Light Michael. Oh my god. It's the Guardian of the Empire. Why is he here? The Angel of Light who once destroyed the Xianheng mecha and almost killed you. He who comes has bad intentions. Good people don't come. After learning the identity of the Angel of Light Michael, a burst of exclamations rang out on the star arc. Humph, no matter how strong Michael is, he is not our opponent with one person. Tixan snorted coldly. That's right. We have the star arc. There are 3 mecha core on the spacecraft. Nearly 50,000 mecha warriors. There are as many strong as clouds. There is only one Guardian of the Empire. What are you afraid of? Zaka also shouted coldly. Michael Xia Xingchen stared at the light angel mecha outside the spaceship that radiated holy light and ordered, everyone don't act rashly. Wait for me to negotiate with Michael. Xia Xingchen Michael's smiling face appeared on the screen above the bridge. You've kept me waiting. It's been a long time since we last met. Can you please let me have a word with you? Michael didn't seem to be hostile. Chapter 1352 Michael's Purpose. Michael wants to talk to me alone. Xia Xingchen was slightly startled, with an expression of disbelief on his face. Yes, I have something important to discuss with you. About the coffin star. Michael smiled faintly, with a kind expression. Xia Xingchen remained silent, frowning. My lord, you can't do that. Michael is a lackey of the Empire. What he says is not credible. Yes, my lord. Michael has defeated you before, and wants to kill you. If you leave the star arc, it is equivalent to exposing yourself to danger. My lord, don't pay attention to Michael. Rescuing the coffin star is important. The people around persuaded him. Of course I know what you said. But, Xia Xingchen still hesitated. To be honest, he didn't believe Michael either. After all, Xia Xingchen regarded Michael as an imaginary enemy and was full of hostility at all times. However, Michael would actually wait for him at the first section of the wormhole, which was too strange. How did Michael know that the star arc would choose this wormhole to jump to the Chang'an star arc? Could it be that there was really a traitor inside the star arc? However, the entire star arc was under the control of Xia Xingchen. Even if there was a traitor, he could not send the message out. Xia Xingchen was full of curiosity. Michael sat in the light angel mecha with a calm face, not anxious at all, quietly waiting for Xia Xingchen's answer. What should I do? Escape? Or face it? Xia Xingchen pondered, unable to make up his mind for a while. Logically, I should ignore Michael and leave, or send out a large army to kill Michael. But, I was once defeated by Michael, and he once became my inner demon. If I escape this time, or use the majority to defeat the minority, people will think that I have lost to this inner demon. Xia Xingchen kept thinking in his mind. Since I fled to the chaotic starfield, I have been trying to become stronger. What is it for? It is to challenge Michael head on one day. Defeat him fair and square. Avenge the previous shame. This is the behavior of a strong man. People who don't have the heart of a strong man, no matter how powerful the mecha they drive, or how many adventures they encounter, can never be truly strong. They will be weak and cowards all their lives. Face it, only face it. Xia Xingchen clenched his fists tightly, his face changed, and a look of relief emerged. At that moment, the haze of the defeat to Michael suddenly disappeared. Xia Xingchen felt a sense of relief. He smiled softly, and said to Michael, "Okay, I'll talk to you, sir." Li Huamui wanted to dissuade him. Xia Xingchen waved her hand to stop her. "Don't worry, I know my limits." Swish. A silver light flashed, and the Azure Dragon Mecha teleported to the universe, and flew towards the direction of the Angel of Light. "Not bad. You've really grown up. You actually dared to face me alone." Michael was slightly surprised when he saw Xia Xingchen leaving the spaceship alone, and flying towards him, and then a look of approval appeared on his face. Xia Xingchen stopped 10,000 meters away from the Angel of Light, looking at the Guardian of the Empire from afar, smiling faintly. "Long time no see. It's really hard for you to wait for me here. But I'm curious, why do you know that I will pass by here? What's your purpose in waiting for me?" "Andre invited me here. He wants me to intercept and kill you here," Michael said bluntly. "You should have heard that Andre became the new messenger of the Shinran sect. He is an extremely rare dual-powered person. The first power is the bloodthirstiness of the combat system. The second power is the foreknowledge of the mysterious system. It is Andre's predictive ability to predict the future and know that you will definitely pass by here. Let me ambush and wait here." Precognition. Xia Xingchen was slightly stunned and said in surprise, "Andre has awakened such a terrifying ability. And, Michael, you tricked me out of the spaceship. Are you going to kill me?" Michael shook his head slightly. "I just pretended to agree to Andre to deceive his trust. In fact, I received a commission from another group of people. In short, if I want to kill you, I will attack you directly and won't waste so much time talking to you. Although your spaceship is powerful, it can't stop me." Xia Xingchen took a breath of cold air. Michael was so confident that he was afraid that what he said was true. Even the Star Ark could not withstand the attack of the Angel of Light. "I don't understand. Since Andre has the ability to predict, why would he be deceived by you?" Xia Xingchen frowned. There was a contradiction in Michael's words. "It's very simple." Michael smiled and explained. "Andre's ability is prediction, but it is not omniscience. The future he predicted is only a possibility of the future. And the future is constantly changing. In fact, when Andre came to me, I did have a plan to kill you here. But, later, something happened. Another group of people came to me and made me change my mind." "Another group of people? Who?" Xia Xingchen asked. "There are only a few people in the entire galaxy who can make Michael change his mind. Kyo Kang, the Ascender Alliance. You should have seen him." Michael did not mean to hide anything. "It's him." Xia Xingchen's body shook. He would never have thought that it was Kyo Khan who found the Angel of Light Michael and made him give up his plan to ambush and assassinate him. "That's right. For the sake of the Ascender Alliance, I gave up the idea of killing you. You should thank them," Michael said lightly. "Since you don't kill me, please get out of the way. I want to go to the Coffin Star." Xia Xingchen said. "No. I accepted the mission of the Ascender Alliance and stopped you again, stopping you from going to the Coffin Star." Michael said his true purpose. "Not killing me? Stopping me from supporting the Coffin Star? Which side is the Ascender Alliance on?" Xia Xingchen was completely confused. "I stopped you from going to Lingjiu Star because I was saving you. With your current weak strength, you will die on Lingjiu Star." Michael said seriously. "Although you have grown a lot, you are still too weak. Especially in front of Andre, you are vulnerable. The Promoter Alliance thinks you are very important and a good seedling. That's why they spent a lot of money to ask me to save you. I'm vulnerable in front of Andre?" Xia Xingchen was slightly stunned, then laughed out loud. "Senior Michael, I'm very grateful that you don't kill me. Yes, I'm indeed very weak compared to you. But, you said that I'm not Andre's opponent. Then I really don't believe it. If Andre is stronger than me, then the first thing he would do is to kill me. But, he has been hiding his head and tail, hiding everywhere. It is obvious that he is afraid of me. You don't understand. You don't understand what happened to Andre at all. Do you really think that the celestial being resurrected Andre just for the sake of resurrection? The celestial being planted a seed in Andre. And now, the seed has sprouted. Not to mention you. Even I may not be Andre's opponent. Michael said in a deep voice. Chapter 1353. The fierce battle begins. Seed. Xia Xingchen was puzzled. Seeds. Or spiritual seeds. The spiritual clone of the spirit race celestial being. Now, this clone has awakened consciousness and merged with Andre. Andre now has the strength of a quasi-celestial being. Michael said. These things are absolutely confidential. With Andre's personality, he would never tell others. How did you know? Xia Xingchen was stunned and asked. The Ascender Alliance. Michael said, all this information was told to me by the Ascender Alliance. As for how they knew it, I don't know. The Ascender Alliance. Xia Xingchen frowned and thought, it seems that this alliance has some tricks. It is estimated that someone in the alliance has a supernatural power similar to the omniscience field, or there is also a celestial being behind the Ascender Alliance. Only then can they know this top secret information. Senior Michael, thank you for telling me this information. But I have to go to the coffin star for rescue. No matter how strong Andre is, I have to meet him face to face. Xia Xingchen bowed and said, why are you so stubborn? Michael was a little angry. I've already said that your strength is too weak. If you don't listen, you will end up like Xingchen. Xingchen? Captain of the Imperial Royal Guard, owner of the Space Key. Xia Xingchen was stunned. Has he rescued Lingji Star? Xingchen led 500 Royal Guard mechas, risking being punished by Qin to support Lingji Star. He was confident that the strength of the Royal Guard could turn the tide of the battle on Lingji Star. However, he had no idea what he was facing. As for his ending, you can see for yourself. Michael took out an instrument, which was a small signal receiver with a projection device on it, which directly projected the scene on Lingji Star into the universe. Michael explained, this is a super technology from the heavens, which can directly see the scene on Lingji Star. Xingchen has just arrived at Lingji Star. You can see his end. Xia Xingchen nodded, his eyes focused on the projection. Inside Lingji Star, war broke out. Countless research institutes were emitting thick black smoke, and there were flames everywhere. The whole city was shrouded in flames of war. The tall Demon King Mecha was wreaking havoc. No one could stop him. On the Demon King Mecha, Andre's face showed a hideous smile, and red lines appeared on his face, like a spider web, spreading from his forehead and all over his body. This is Andre's ability bloodthirstiness. In the bloodthirsty state, Andre's mental power is highly concentrated, and his reaction, speed, and strength will reach the peak. His combat effectiveness will increase exponentially. It is a very practical and rare ability. The most terrifying thing is that once bloodthirstiness evolves into a bloodthirsty field, it can also affect the surrounding comrades and improve their combat effectiveness. The only disadvantage of bloodthirstiness is that it consumes mental power extremely. However, the seeds of the heavenly spirit in Andre have sprouted, and his mental power level has soared to the realm of quasi-heavenly man, and he can squander it at will. The guards of Lingju Star have been wiped out by me. The next step is to break through the core area of Lingju Star and turn on the protective shield. The entire Lingju Star will be in an undefended state. My Shinran sect army can invade Lingju Star and kill at will. Andre sneered, and behind him were the wreckage of mechas, smoke and blood. In the core area, Meredith's blonde hair was disheveled, and she looked lost. Kirissa's death had a great impact on Meredith. What should I do? What should I do? No one on Lingju Star can stop Andre's footsteps. Meredith's eyes were scattered. As smart as she was, she couldn't think of a way to defeat the enemy. As the saying goes, one force can defeat 10 skills. Andre's strength is too strong, and coupled with the Empire's #1 demon mecha, he is almost invincible. Lingju Star, please answer if you hear me. I'm the captain of the Imperial Guard, Xingchen. I come to support Lingju Star. Request to land on Lingju Star. An old man's face suddenly appeared on the screen. Qin Haitian. Legendary Mecha Master. Imperial Guard. Meredith was stunned at first, and then ecstatic. Meredith came from a famous family, so he had naturally heard of the Imperial Guard, and had seen Qin Haitian. The Imperial Guard, known as the #1 mecha corps in the Galactic Empire, is not to be underestimated. Qin Haitian is ranked 5th on the Galaxy Legend list. He has 10 legendary mecha masters under his command. If these people work together, they can even flatten a starfield. It can be done. Meredith was delighted and quickly opened the passage to allow Qin Haitian and the Imperial Guard to land on Lingju Star. 500 luxurious mechas equipped with golden armor passed through the gravitational singularity and entered the interior of Lingju Star. Lingju Star was destroyed like this? Qin Haitian's face changed when he saw the tragic situation inside Lingju Star. Captain, thank you for leading your men to come to support. Lingju Star will always remember your help, Meredith said. Lingju Star is the foundation of the Empire. Of course I have to come. Where is that thief Andre? I will go and kill him. Qin Haitian smiled and said domineeringly, thank you, Captain. Meredith quickly passed Andre's coordinates to Qin Haitian. Qin Haitian led the members of the Royal Guard, and the mechas flashed and flew at high speed. In a blink of an eye, they were 10 kilometers ahead of the demon god mecha. What a big mecha. It's so big, like a mountain. There is such a huge mecha. I wonder how strong it is. The mecha masters of the Royal Guard looked up at the huge demon god mecha and couldn't help but exclaimed, everyone be careful. Qin Haitian had an ominous premonition in his heart. Facing the demon mecha, the hairs on his body stood up straight. This is the sixth sense that only the top strongman will have when facing danger. Is it the Imperial Guard? Andre lowered his head and looked intently. When he saw the mecha of the Royal Guard, he recognized it at a glance and immediately laughed. I didn't expect that the Royal Guard would come to stop me. Well, today I will remove the Imperial Guard from the list. Arrogant. Isn't it just a little bigger? What's the big deal? Big, but just a target. The mecha divisions of the Royal Guard were furious when they heard Andre's contemptuous words. God's envoy, you bewitched Qin Yun, doing evil and doing all kinds of evil things. Today is a good opportunity to kill you. As long as you die, the Shinran sect will be vulnerable. The Empire can still be saved. Qin Haitian's face changed slightly, and murderous intent emerged in his pupils. Qin Haitian didn't know that there was a big change in the Shinran sect, and the God's envoy had changed. I thought Andre was the one who controlled Qin Jaina and assassinated Qin Zhi. For both public and private reasons, Qin Haitian was ready to do his best today to kill this devil Andre. Kill. With Qin Haitian's roar, the battle between the Royal Guards and Andre officially began. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1354, Vulnerable. Under the command of Qin Haitian, the Imperial Royal Guard was divided into 3 groups, one for long-range shooting, one for frontal assault, and one for flank harassment. Each group was led by at least 3 legendary mecha divisions. Qin Haitian himself, together with 4 legendary mecha divisions, was responsible for frontal assault. Such a strict and regular combat method will only be used when facing a strong enemy, or when the few are fighting the many. Qin Haitian led 500 elite mecha divisions and still deployed such a battle formation when facing Andre alone. It can be seen that Qin Haitian did not have the slightest contempt in his heart. A lion fights a rabbit with all its strength. Moreover, Andre alone turned the coffin star upside down, and he was obviously not a weak rabbit. Attack. Qin Haitian shouted loudly. 150 long-range mechas behind him had locked onto the coordinates of the Demon King mecha and simulated all of Andre's evasive trajectories in the optical brain, adjusting the shooting angle and direction at any time, releasing hundreds of laser beams and bombarding the Demon King mecha. Under this saturation bombardment, not to mention a mecha, even a starship would be burned by the high energy of the laser beam, destroyed and turned into a fireball. The Imperial Royal Guards were equipped with the most advanced mechas in the Empire. 150 mecha light cannons fired in unison, and the instantaneous firepower output even exceeded that of a small fleet of 100 ships. Logically speaking, Andre would never be able to withstand this attack. However, war is often unreasonable. Andre didn't even do the most basic evasive action. A layer of golden light flashed on the Demon King mecha, which was a layer of energy shield that blocked the volley. At the same time, the Demon King mecha strode forward and rushed towards Kinhaitian. Kinhaitian's pupils suddenly shrank to the size of a needle tip, and he issued an order loudly, "Everyone prepare to fight." The mechas behind him immediately spread out, forming a fan-shaped attack formation, blocking the front of the Demon King's mecha. At the same time, all weapon modules were in a state of readiness. Once the Demon King's mecha approached and entered the range, there would be a fierce battle. Kinhaitian took the lead in driving the mecha forward, holding a two-handed giant sword, leaping up and slashing at the knee of the Demon King's mecha. Bang! The mecha was still in the air, and the Demon King's mecha suddenly raised its foot and kicked Kinhaitian's mecha heavily, making a loud noise. Kinhaitian's mind was blank. He didn't see clearly how the Demon King's mecha attacked, and the whole person flew backwards. With Kinhaitian's defeat, the Royal Guard's defense line was as fragile as paper, and was instantly torn apart by the Demon King's mecha. Two legendary mecha masters were grasped by the palm of the Demon King's mecha, and the people and mechas were turned into a ball of iron mud mixed with blood. The prestigious Imperial Royal Guards were unable to stop Andre's footsteps. As many as 10 legendary mecha divisions were unable to display their due strength in front of him. They were beaten and slaughtered like a father beating his son. When Kinhaitian woke up from his brief coma, he was shocked to find that his surroundings were already a sea of fire. The wreckage of fallen mechas was everywhere. The public channel was filled with the wails of his comrades. "I've lost." A stream of blood flowed from Kinhaitian's forehead, making his eyes blood red, and the world was spinning wildly. "I'm ranked 5th on the legend list, leading 500 elite mecha divisions. I was defeated so easily by one person?" Kinhaitian's brain still couldn't figure it out. Linju Star, the core area. The smiles on Meredith and the staff's faces froze in an instant. They all thought that Kinhaitian led the Imperial Royal Guard to come to support, and the battle was settled. No matter how strong Andre was, he couldn't get the upper hand from Kinhaitian. However, the development of the battle was completely beyond their expectations. The Imperial Royal Guard was not Andre's opponent. Judging from the battle scene just now, the gap is not a little bit. How is it possible? Andre's strength is too terrifying. Meredith's face turned pale, and she couldn't help but hug her shoulders with her hands, and her body trembled slightly. Meredith is a woman after all, and at this time, what she needs most is a man's chest. How is it possible? In the starry sky outside the wormhole, Xia Xingchen saw Kinhaitian's instant defeat in the three-dimensional image, and an expression of disbelief appeared on her face, and she exclaimed loudly, "In this crazy era, nothing is impossible. I have already said that, let alone you and Kinhaitian. Even I may not be Andre's opponent. Andre's strength is already a quasi-celestial being. Under the celestial being, Andre can be said to be invincible." Michael shook his head slowly, and his face could not hide his astonishment. "What should I do? Andre is so terrifying. Is Linju Star going to be destroyed in his hands? I don't have time to rush over. Besides, even if I rush to Linju Star, what can I do with my strength?" Xia Xingchen clenched his hands tightly. His expression was sad and angry. "Too weak. I'm really too weak. If this goes on, I can't save anyone." A strong sense of powerlessness filled Xia Xingchen's heart. At that time on Xianyuan Star, Xia Xingchen was ruthlessly defeated by Michael, and he had felt this sense of powerlessness. And now, this sense of powerlessness swept Xia Xingchen's heart again. Xia Xingchen has never been so eager for power as now. What can I do if I desire it? I can't become stronger instantly. Linju Star has no time. Xia Xingchen grabbed her hair with both hands, her expression painful. "Kinhaitian, I have disliked you for a long time. You actually want to kill me? You are not my opponent at all." A grim smile appeared on Andre's face, and the Demon King mecha strode over, raised his foot, and stomped heavily on Kinhaitian's body. In the core area, Meredith had closed her eyes, unable to bear to watch anymore. At this moment, a sigh suddenly sounded from the inside of the coffin star. The whole planet was shaking slightly. Huh? A powerful consciousness? Could it be the planetary consciousness? Impossible. The entire coffin star is empty. Except for humans, there are almost no living things. How could a planetary consciousness be born? Andre was stunned and quickly retracted his steps, temporarily leaving Kinhaitian's life, and looked around vigilantly. Found it. Andre suddenly raised his head and looked at the artificial sun hanging in the center of the Lingju star. At this moment, this scorching fireball turned into a huge golden eye, which slowly opened. The red pupil stared at Andre, with no sadness or joy in the eyes. This eye. I've seen it before. In the distant starry sky, Xia Xingchen was stunned when he saw this weird scene. When he first arrived at the Lingju star, he often had nightmares all night long. In his dreams, it was this huge eye that stared at him. The dream became reality. Chapter 1355 The Final Weapon. Why? What is this? Why did I see this eye in my dream? Xia Xingchen was shocked physically and mentally, and his mind was full of doubts. So, the rumor is true. Michael's face changed slightly, and he whispered in a low voice, the so-called Lingjiu on Lingjiu star means coffin. Lingjiu star is the tomb of the celestial being, where the celestial being's remains are buried. The Royal Institute has been studying, in addition to the relics left by the celestial being, the most important thing is his remains. No wonder many areas on Lingjiu star are blocked areas, and you must have extremely high authority to enter. It turns out that there are celestial beings on Lingjiu star. This is a big secret. Xia Xingchen's face showed a look of realization. But what are the eyes I saw in my dream? It should be the will of the celestial being. Some celestial beings can be immortal, even if their bodies die. Michael said, there may still be celestial beings' consciousness on Lingjiu star. You are highly sensitive, and have a higher talent than ordinary people, so you can feel the remaining consciousness of the celestial being, when you just arrived at Lingjiu star. Michael speculated. Xia Xingchen nodded slightly, thinking that Michael's speculation was also close to the truth. But now this huge golden eye has actually appeared. This is not an illusion, but reality. What is it? Xia Xingchen was still shocked. It may be the scientific research results of Lingjiu star over the years. Under Andre's pressure, Meredith had to use his trump card. Michael looked expectant. The remains of the celestial being may contain some unknown technology, and there is some possibility of turning the tide of the war. Michael's speculation was close to the truth. The only thing he miscalculated was that Meredith did not expect that there would be a huge golden eye. The remains of the celestial being are indeed hidden on the artificial star in the center of the planet. But the celestial being has been dead for tens of thousands of years. How could he suddenly awaken? Turn into golden eyes? Meredith's face was pale, and he was also in shock. His brain was working rapidly, constantly thinking about the possibilities. Maybe it's because of Carissa? Meredith suddenly thought of a possibility. Her body suddenly trembled, and a hint of joy appeared on her face. She muttered, that's right. It must be Carissa. Carissa didn't die, and turned a disaster into a blessing, awakening the consciousness of the celestial being. The Royal Institute once conducted a secret experiment. Few people knew the inside story, and Meredith was one of them. This experiment was about Carissa. Or, in other words, Carissa was the test subject of this secret experiment. Carissa is not a natural person. Instead, she was created by mixing the genes collected from the remains of the celestial being on the coffin star with Meredith's own genes to create a clone. Carissa has the genes of the celestial being in Meredith. It is precisely because of this that Carissa showed extraordinary talent and is the only all-powerful person in the human world. However, Carissa is not a complete body, but a defective product. Her IQ is not high, only that of a 7 or 8-year-old girl. It was for this reason that Meredith always felt guilty and doted on Carissa, allowing her to do whatever she wanted in the research institute on the coffin star and rarely punishing her. Meredith treated Carissa as her own daughter. In fact, from a genetic level, Carissa was her daughter. If possible, Meredith wanted to keep this secret in her heart forever. However, it might be that when Carissa flew to the artificial star, she came into contact with the remaining consciousness of the celestial being, which awakened the celestial being gene in her body. Roar. A howl that was neither human nor beast came from the golden eyes. A silver mecha was covered in blood, tearing open the pupil in the center of the eye and drilling out from it. The golden eye was torn from the middle, and blood-colored lines like spider webs appeared on the surface. Scarlet blood gathered along the lines and dripped from the eye. A petite little girl with an indifferent face sat in the cockpit of the mecha. Her eyes had turned golden. She looked down at Andre with a superior look, without sadness or joy. Andre felt a strong sense of oppression, and the corners of his mouth twitched twice involuntarily. He felt the long-lost tension. Kirissa didn't speak, and gently raised her white and tender little hand. The space suddenly shattered, and turned into a space cage, trapping the entire Demon King mecha in it. With a raised hand, tearing the space, and turning it into a cage. Andre was shocked and showed a strange smile on his face. This is the method of the gods. Breaking the void. This time I have met my opponent. Boom boom boom. Andre was not panicked. He controlled the Demon King mecha and punched hard, hitting the space barrier one punch after another. He actually wanted to use brute force to shatter the space and rush out of the cage. Kirissa's face became paler and paler, and her golden eyes stared at Andre, fighting against him. This is a battle at the level of gods and men. The strength of the two sides is not much different, and the competition is about whose mental power is more durable. The battle situation fell into a stalemate for a while, and there was silence on the Lingju star. This is the calm before the storm. Everyone who saw this battle held their breath, not daring to breathe, and nervously waiting for the result. Outside the wormhole. Xia Xingchen, you also saw it. This battle is a contest between quasi-celestial beings. It's a fight between gods. You can't intervene at all. Listen to me. Leave here. Lingju Star is not the place for you to go. Michael said. The battle between quasi-celestial beings. Xia Xingchen's heart was already in turmoil. Laymen watch the excitement, while experts watch the doorway. As strong as Xia Xingchen and Michael, they can already observe the battle conflict at the spiritual level. Although it looks calm on the surface, there are undercurrents and dangers underneath. Senior, who do you think will win between the two of them? Xia Xingchen asked. I dare not speculate at will. Michael shook his head and smiled bitterly. Both of them are monsters. Mortals cannot understand the battle between monsters. Xia Xingchen was shocked. The Angel of Light Michael, the Guardian of the Empire, ranked second on the legend list, was known as the second strongest in the galaxy, and his strength was second only to the star pirate King Roger. Even Michael called these two monsters. Even he couldn't understand the battle between the two. A battle of this level? Is there really room for me to intervene? Xia Xingchen was also suspicious. But, I can't let Kirissa make any mistakes. I must go. Xia Xingchen looked stubborn, and did not change his mind. Stubborn. Michael was furious. You stubborn head. Forget it. I won't waste my words with you. I should have tied you up long ago, so that you won't go to die. But, in the hands of the Angel of Light, light condensed and turned into a light lasso. Michael threw the light lasso towards the Kinglang mecha without saying a word. Chapter 1356 Gambling. Michael suddenly made a move, and the light in his hand condensed into substance, turning into a light chain, flying towards the Kinglang mecha, and tying it up tightly. Michael made a move on the adults. On the Star Domain arc, Li Huamui and others had been paying attention to Michael's every move. Seeing him suddenly make a move on Xia Xingchen, Tai Xiang immediately exclaimed. I didn't expect that the dignified guardian of the empire was a scumbag who didn't keep his word. Keela was also nervous. The master is in trouble. I want to fight. Miyamoto Kenichi shouted in a low voice, his eyes flashing with a sharp light like a blade. Everyone was immediately filled with righteous indignation and prepared to make a move together to deal with Michael. Absolutely not. Li Huama's pretty face was covered with a strange color. She stood in front of everyone, opened her hands to stop them, and shouted in a broken voice, have you forgotten the order when the adults left? Of course I remember. But, everyone calmed down a little. They did remember very clearly that Xia Xingchen had ordered, when he left, that no matter what happened, they should not leave the Star Domain arc. However, when Xia Xingchen was in danger, they became nervous and threw the order out of their minds. We are not a mob, but a well-disciplined army. Now, follow the order of the adults. No one is allowed to leave the Star Domain arc. I'm just as worried about the adults as you are. But the only thing we can do now is to believe. Isn't it Michael, the guardian of the empire? Although he is strong, he may not be the opponent of the adults. For so long, the adults have been practicing hard, isn't it, for one day, to be able to cross the mountain of Michael? Li Huami shouted indignantly. Her voice was not loud, but every word made sense. Everyone calmed down completely and nodded. Master, Miyamoto Kenichi, believe in you. Boss, we won't take action and cause trouble for you. Let Michael, the old boy, taste your power. The adults have never done anything without confidence. Even if they confront the Angel of Light head on, it should be within his expectations. On the Star Domain arc, everyone's faces showed trust, and countless eyes stared at Xia Xingchen. Trust is the most powerful belief. The crystal pyramid floating in Xia Xingchen's mind was filled with pure power of faith. Boom. The power of faith turned into pure mental power and suddenly exploded, directly smashing the light chains wrapped around the Kinglang Mecha, turning them into countless floating light points, and disappearing into the starry sky. Ah. My light chains are destroyed. Michael looked up at Xia Xingchen with a look of astonishment. He only realized, now that he seemed to have underestimated this young man who had been defeated miserably in front of him. Xia Xingchen is no longer the Wuxia of the past. He has been reborn, achieved legend, and is qualified to confront Michael head-on. Interesting. No wonder the Ascendant Alliance values you so much. You have a secret that is no less than Andre's. Michael's mouth corners were raised, his right hand stroked his grey beard, and he laughed, with an interested expression on his face. Come on, just give it your all. Let me see how much you have grown during this period of time. Michael rubbed his hands together, eager to try, and couldn't wait to fight with Xia Xingchen. Those who can have the strength of Michael are well-deserved strong men. They have the heart of a strong man, and are born to be belligerent. Even for the younger generation, after recognizing the strength of the other party, they are also eager to fight. Xia Xingchen also has the heart of a strong man, and he has been defeated by Michael before, and the fighting spirit in his chest has long been boiling like magma. However, Xia Xingchen still took a deep breath, and forced himself to suppress the fighting spirit. The Coffin Star is in danger, and Xia Xingchen is really not in the mood to fight Michael at this time. Even if it is a battle, it can't be such a meaningless battle. Maybe, I have thought of a way to save the Coffin Star. But, I need a strong fighting force as a helper. This fighting force must be as strong as Andre, and extremely warlike. Michael is the best candidate. Or thought flashed through Xia Xingchen's mind, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised. He already had a plan in his mind. Senior. Facing Michael's provocation, Xia Xingchen did not attack immediately, but floated in the universe, and shouted to Michael. Michael had already controlled the light angel, and put on a fighting posture. Seeing Xia Xingchen suddenly speaking, he stopped attacking and asked, "What's the matter? Tell me quickly." Senior. The battle between you and me is inevitable, but now is not the time. Even if we want to fight, we can't do this kind of meaningless battle. Why don't you and I have a bet? Xia Xingchen suggested. Betting? It sounds interesting. But what to bet on? Money, I have no shortage of it. As for other things, as long as you can take them out, I don't care. Michael raised his eyebrows and said arrogantly. Of course. But you should have promised the Ascendant Alliance to stop me from going to the Coffin Star. Then, let's limit it to 3 moves. If I can hurt you within 3 moves, then, you must promise me one thing. If I can't hurt you, I will listen to you, and give up the plan to go to the Coffin Star. Xia Xingchen said. Oh. This is killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay, I promise. But, Kit, you are too arrogant. You want to hurt me in 3 moves. Not to mention 3 moves, even if it's 30 moves, 300 moves, you can't hurt me at all. Michael laughed loudly, quite conceited. Senior, since you promised, then I'll take action. Xia Xingchen didn't waste any words, and immediately controlled the Kinglang Mecha to perform the strongest killer move, Thunder Roar. Boom. A beam of thunderlight surged out of the mouth of the Kinglang Mecha, and rushed towards the Angel of Light. This energy attack is quite powerful. Unfortunately, it's too slow and clumsy. It's okay against those low-end mechas. However, it's useless to me. Michael laughed loudly, and the light angel mecha turned into a stream of light, accelerated suddenly, and easily dodged the attack of Thunder Roar. Suzaku mecha. Fiery Sun Strike. Xia Xingchen immediately took out the Suzaku mecha from the portable space and used the Fiery Sun Strike. The Fiery Sun Strike is a range attack with a much larger attack range. Seeing Xia Xingchen operating two mechas at the same time, Michael's face changed, and he said in astonishment, "The mental clone can also operate the mecha? What a weird move. This kid is so powerful. And this red bird mecha seems to have some origin with my light angel mecha." With the performance of the light angel, Michael was confident that he could withstand this attack, but he was not confident that he would not be injured. Therefore, Michael chose to use the high speed of the light angel to fly out of the range of the Fiery Sun Strike. Michael was forced to run around everywhere after being chased by Xia Xingchen's two moves, and he felt very helpless in his heart. Chapter 1357 Chips. Whoosh. The speed of the light angel was amazing, and it turned into a stream of light. In the blink of an eye, it had already flown out of the attack range of Liang's attack. The second move. Michael was very proud, with a smile on his face. However, Michael didn't know that at this moment, Xia Xingchen also had a proud smile on his face. Thunder Cage. Trapped? Xia Xingchen shouted. Suddenly, a huge thunder cage appeared in the space. The thick thunder light column was the shackles of the cage, trapping the light angel in it. Ah. This thunder energy is the thunder roar that I just avoided. The remaining energy dissipated in the space actually formed a cage. It turns out that this kid has been calculating against me all along. When Michael realized it, it was too late. The speed of the light angel was too fast, and it passed directly through the middle of the thunder shackles. The residual energy of the thunder roar was naturally not strong. Xia Xingchen is not a thunder type mutant. He just used his powerful mental power to imitate the thunder cage, and the damage was greatly reduced. But it was enough. After the light angel passed through the thunder shackles, the optical brain immediately reported the number, and the damage was less than 1%. If it was a normal battle, this level of damage would be insignificant and would not affect the performance. But this is a gambling fight. Michael's face turned pale. He knew that he had lost. Michael just boasted that, even if Xia Xingchen hurt him a hair, he would be considered a loser. I actually lost to this kid. It's a great shame. But it's not unfair. The strength shown by this kid is very amazing. The performance of his two mechas is also very terrifying. I want to defeat him again without hurting a hair. It is absolutely impossible. And my battle with him will last for a long time. It's an endurance battle. After a while of thinking, Michael admitted Xia Xingchen's strength and admitted that he had lost. The Guardian of the Empire, whether in terms of strength or character, is worthy of my respect. Xia Xingchen bowed and said with a smile, "Thank you, senior. You don't have to flatter me." Michael showed a sly smile. The title of the Guardian of the Empire is what others call me. I have never considered myself the Guardian of the Empire. I'm just an ordinary person, not noble at all. However, since I lost to you, I'm willing to accept the defeat. Tell me, what do you want to ask me for? Although Michael lost, he was obviously unwilling to accept it in his heart. His attitude was still high and his tone was very perfunctory. Xia Xingchen frowned slightly. Xia Xingchen's plan was very complicated. He needed a strong fighting force to fight with Andre and try to distract him. If Michael was perfunctory, the plan would probably fail. Ginger is experienced. Michael is a man with deep scheming and is not easy to deal with. Xia Xingchen already had a plan in mind and said, "Senior, what I want to ask of you is very simple. Since you are worried about my safety, please come with me to the Coffin Star to support the Coffin Star and defeat Andre. With your strength, this is not difficult to do. Fight Andre head on." Michael's face changed slightly when he heard it. "Xia Xingchen, it's fine if you go to the fire pit alone. You also want to drag me into the fire pit with you. Andre is now a quasi-celestial being, and he has a Demon King mecha in his hand. His strength is unfathomable. If I die in Andre's hands, won't my reputation be ruined? Just based on your small bet, you want to earn my life. Are you stupid, or do you think I'm a fool?" Xia Xingchen's prediction was correct. When Michael heard about fighting with Andre, he immediately backed out. "With your strength, Andre is just a mere one. Xia Xingchen said hurriedly. I told you not to flatter me. I won't take it. Anyway, this won't work. Either you ask me for something simpler. Otherwise, our bet is void. Michael said. Xia Xingchen was silent. Putting himself in Michael's shoes, Xia Xingchen also understood Michael's thoughts. Senior, have you heard of the light particle alienation technique? Xia Xingchen made up his mind and said to Michael, light particle alienation technique? Michael's body suddenly shook and he looked at Xia Xingchen with surprise. Where did you know about this technique? The Fiery Sun Clan. Xia Xingchen had heard the prophet grandma of the Fiery Sun Clan say it. Light particle alienation technique is the top secret technique in the universe. It can directly convert solar energy into mental power. The Fiery Sun Clan has become the most powerful race in the Milky Way by relying on this secret technique. And the Light Angel Michael once stole this secret technique from the Fiery Sun Clan. What Michael stole was a castrated version of the light particle alienation technique, which was already very powerful, making him the second in the starry sky. It was also because of this incident that Michael was the mortal enemy of the Fiery Sun Clan. Any member of the Fiery Sun Clan who saw Michael could kill him if conditions allowed. The Fiery Sun Clan. Michael's pupils suddenly shrank, and he remembered many stupid things he did when he was young. Stealing the light particle alienation technique was the stupidest thing Michael had done when he was young, and it was also the thing he regretted most in his life. Michael did not feel ashamed because of the theft. It was simply because Michael had gone to great lengths to steal a castrated version of the light particle alienation technique. This secret technique made Michael successful, but it also destroyed him. Michael was a man with a strong sense of self-esteem. When everyone mentioned him, the first thing that came to mind was the second in the starry sky. The second thing that came to mind was the guardian of the empire. The title of the second in the starry sky was a compliment to many people, but to Michael, it was a humiliation. Michael was full of regret, thinking that if he had obtained the complete version of the light particle alienation technique, he would definitely be able to surpass Roger and become the first person in the starry sky. However, the light particle alienation technique is the core secret of the Liang clan. The Liang clan's strong men are all determined. Even if Michael catches the elders who have mastered the secret method, he cannot force them to tell him. That's right. You should have heard some rumors about me. I have a Liang expeditionary force with more than 10,000 people. It is the most elite army of the Liang clan. This army was given to me by the queen of the Liang clan. Because I have helped the Liang clan a lot. Helped them out of trouble. In addition to this army, I also got the light particle alienation technique. The complete version of the light particle alienation technique. If you are willing to help me, I can teach you the secret technique after I get the consent of Her Majesty the Queen. Xia Xingchen said in a deep voice. He once swore in front of the Liang clan's prophet mother-in-law that he would not disclose the light particle alienation technique to anyone. Xia Xingchen is not a pedantic person. Although there was an oath before, it was a different time. The reason why the prophet asked Xia Xingchen to swear was that she was afraid that others would covet the light particle alienation technique, which would be detrimental to the Liang clan. Xia Xingchen already had enough strength to protect the Liang clan. Moreover, Michael was very tight-lipped. If Her Majesty the Queen agreed, the light particle alienation technique might not be an important bargaining chip to save the Coffin Star. Chapter 1358, Fierce Battle on Coffin Star. The complete version of the light particle alienation technique. Are you willing to give it to me? The indifference on Michael's face was swept away, his eyes were burning, and he stared at Xia Xingchen with excitement. Even his voice was trembling. Light particle alienation technique is too important to Michael. It is the secret technique he has always dreamed of. If I can get the light particle alienation technique, then I will most likely break through the bottleneck. Become a celestial being. Accomplish a feat that countless generations have been unable to accomplish. Michael's heart was already eager to make a move. Wait a minute, I will contact the queen and get her permission. Xia Xingchen nodded and immediately contacted Li Huamui in the Star Domain Arc. Let Li Huamui use the hyperwave communicator in the Star Domain Arc to contact the queen of the Liang clan on the new Wanshi star. Hyperspace information transmission has always been a problem that humans cannot overcome. The Galactic Empire is vast. At the beginning of the founding of the country, the ancestors of the Qin family also thought about what kind of social system to adopt. In the end, the first founding emperor of the Galaxy Empire adopted a feudal system, dividing the empire into 5 major star regions: the southeast, northwest, and center. The emperor was seated on Chaniuan Star, and the 4 star regions were divided among the 4 dukes. Because the empire's territory was too vast and information communication was not smooth, it was impossible to centralize power, and it could only be divided among the princes. However, the existence of the superwave communicator can span countless light years and achieve instant information transmission. This is a super technology from heaven. Light particle alienation? You are the savior of the Liang clan. You can make your own decision on such a small matter. You can give it to whoever you want. However, try not to reveal that this secret technique was spread from the Liang clan. The queen of the Liang clan was building a planet on the new Wanshi star. After receiving Xia Xingchen's message, she did not think for long and immediately replied to the message. In the queen's view, Xia Xingchen's actions to the Liang clan were beyond the Liang clan's ability to repay him. The light particle alienation technique was just a small matter, and she could give him the maximum authority to handle it on his own. Thank you, queen. The queen's trust warmed Xia Xingchen's heart. After thanking the queen, he turned his head and looked at Michael. The queen has agreed. I can give you the light particle alienation technique, but you have to come with me to face Andre and save the coffin star. Okay. For the light particle alienation technique, I'll risk my life. Michael was delighted and immediately agreed. The situation was critical. Xia Xingchen said no more and asked Michael to enter the star domain arc, continuously jump, and rush to the coffin star at the fastest speed. Coffin star. The artificial sun turned into golden pupils and was torn in half from the middle by Kirissa driving the mecha and was completely destroyed. The artificial sun was destroyed and the entire coffin star fell into darkness as if night had fallen. However, the darkness could not cover the flames of war at all. Countless research institutes were burning with fire. Explosions continued and flames rose, reflecting half of the sky in a fiery red. In the dark smoke and burning fire, Kirissa was driving a silver thunder mech, confronting Andre's huge Demon King mech. The battle between the two on the spiritual level has come to an end. Kirissa was slightly inferior, so she immediately chose the mech battle, wanting to win back a game through the performance of the mech and combat skills. In the cockpit of the thunder mech, Kirissa's smiling body floated in the air, her silver hair was raised, and her golden eyes were shining. In her 2 small hands, fire, water, wind and lightning continued to flow out, and finally gathered on the palm of the thunder mech, turning into colorful energy balls, and releasing them towards the Demon King mech. Kirissa is known as an all-powerful person who controls the violent elemental energy. At this moment, she is exerting her innate powerful strength to the fullest. The diameter of these energy balls is more than 5 meters, and the flying speed is amazing, making a deafening explosion during the flight. One of the energy balls flew to a hill and exploded instantly, flattening the entire hilltop. Its power was not much weaker than the main gun of the starship. Kirissa's little face was still childish, but her eyes were full of indifference, without sadness or joy. Her every move was full of superiority. The remaining consciousness of the gods on the coffin star not only awakened Kirissa's abilities, but also had vast memories pouring into her brain to complete her incomplete intelligence. The gods are perfect. Whether it is ability or IQ, it is far beyond human imagination. The thunder mech slowly moved forward towards the Demon King mech in the air, and there were continuous explosions around it, like layers of waves, and a series of explosion-formed balls of light appeared in the sky. In the blink of an eye, Kirissa didn't know how many energy balls she had fired and bombarded the Demon King mech, but her mental power showed no signs of exhaustion. Like a humanoid self-propelled artillery, she kept moving forward with a roar. However, such a fierce bombardment could not penetrate the energy shield on the surface of the Demon King mech's body. In the Demon King mech, Andre's face was solemn, and he was ready to fight. He did not dare to underestimate it. He used all his strength to deal with Kirissa's attack, and waved back from time to time. As Andre waved his hand, the palm of the Demon King mech surged with spiritual power, turning into a milky white spiritual power light ball, and blasted towards Kirissa. This is the method of the elder celestial beings, the spiritual light ball. The light ball radiated violent energy fluctuations, and the destructive power was terrifying. The spiritual light ball covered the sky and flew towards Kirissa like a rainstorm. Kirissa's golden eyes stared at the direction where the spiritual light ball came from. Thunder, ice rain, and even fireballs burst out of thin air in a large area of space, as if the end of the world had come, covering the sky and blocking this space. The spiritual light ball was detonated in the air shook, and the earth trembled. A few fish that slipped through the net flew within 100 meters of Kirissa and were detonated by the arcs jumping out of the thunder mecha. Some spiritual balls were covered with frost, instantly frozen, and fell from the air. For a time, Andre was unable to break through Kirissa's defense. The battle situation continued to stalemate. However, Andre knew that in a few hours, Kirissa would show signs of fatigue, and her mental reserve was almost exhausted. The final winner is still me. Andre has used his foresight to peek into the future. In the most likely future, Kirissa was killed by Andre. He broke into the core area of Lingju Star, as if he was in an empty space, and destroyed the protective device. The Shinran sect army drove straight in, and killed wantonly in Lingju Star. The entire planet was full of blood and smoke of war. Lingju Star, known as the cornerstone of the empire, was destroyed. The foundation of the empire was completely shaken. Chapter 1359 Strong Support. The shadows that shroud the future gradually dissipate, and the future is becoming brighter and brighter. Andre felt his whole body burning, and a powerful force surged in his body. Who can stop me? Andre couldn't help but scream, his eyes burning with scarlet blood, and his supernatural bloodthirstiness was fully exerted at this time, pushing his mental power to the peak again. On the other side, Kirissa felt deep despair. In the eyes of outsiders, Kirissa had not lost the upper hand, and was evenly matched with Andre. However, as the person involved, Kirissa knew better than anyone how terrifying Andre was. Even Kirissa got the remaining consciousness of the celestial being in the artificial star, and gained great power. But this power belonging to the celestial being could not shake Andre. Andre and the demon mech were like a towering mountain. Unshakable, even insurmountable. Meredith. Kirissa looked down. The defeat was already decided, and her only wish now was to save Meredith. At least Meredith must be rescued. Even if I die, Meredith must live. Kirissa bit her lips with her pearly teeth, and a look of determination flashed across her face. Just like Meredith's sincere feelings for Kirissa, Kirissa also has deep feelings for Meredith. The two are not mother and daughter, but their feelings are better than mother and daughter. Just when Kirissa's heart was getting quieter and was about to fall into darkness, she was ready to use her last strength to save Meredith alone. Crack. A golden lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the interior of the coffin star like daylight. Lightning? In the core area of the coffin star, Meredith looked anxious and was watching the battle between Kirissa and Andre. She was slightly startled when she found lightning flashing across the sky, and then a look of surprise appeared on her face. The coffin star is a hollow planet without an atmosphere, and naturally there is no weather such as lightning and thunder. Of course, the weather system on the coffin star will simulate cloudy and rainy weather, but there is absolutely no rainstorm, let alone lightning. Moreover, Meredith seemed to see the shadow of Mecha in the golden lightning just now. Zoom in. Zoom in the picture just now immediately. Meredith exclaimed and ordered the staff around him to zoom in. There was indeed a vague figure of Mecha in the golden lightning. This Mecha was shining with golden light, as if the light was condensed, and behind it were 6 huge wings of light. Even the golden lightning just now was the track left by the Mecha flying over. Michael. The angel of light Michael. The guardian of the empire is here. On the ground, Kinhaitian also saw the amazing scene just now. After being stunned for a long time, he screamed out, "Well, there is a strong energy fluctuation. Who is it?" Such a terrifying mental pressure. Kirissa and Andre stopped fighting at the same time, and the two mechas retreated 10 kilometers and faced each other from a distance. They both sensed the breath of the strong. However, they didn't know whether it was an enemy or a friend. Haha. Sorry to bother you two. The figure of the light angel Mecha slowly emerged from the space. The whole body was condensed with light, dazzling, and Michael's voice came from the Mecha. "This is the light angel. It's Michael." Andre frowned, with an angry look on his face, staring at Michael. With Andre's current strength, only two people can make him feel difficult. One is the first person under the starry sky, the star pirate King Roger. The other, of course, is the guardian of the empire, the light angel Michael. It is precisely for this reason that Andre found Michael before attacking the coffin star and promised him a huge profit so that Michael would ambush and kill Xia Xingchen at the exit of the wormhole. However, Michael did not act according to the original plan, but appeared on the coffin star. Could it be that Xia Xingchen had been killed by Michael and he came to ask for a reward? Or did Michael deceive himself? Andre immediately used the precognitive ability to peek into the future. However, Michael was surrounded by a layer of light curtain, and his future became obscure, as if he was separated by a layer of frosted glass, and could not see clearly. Andre's ability to predict the future was not omniscient. Although he could peek into the future, it had some flaws. For example, Andre could not deduce or peek into the future of the strong in a short period of time. Michael, what do you mean? Have you completed the task I gave you? Andre asked directly with a cold face. Haha, no. Michael smiled. Others were afraid of Andre, but he was not afraid at all, and he was telling the truth. Then you. Andre immediately understood that Michael was turning against him at the last minute. To be honest, Andre had never thought that he could control a top strong man like Michael. He only hoped that Michael would not cause trouble for him when he attacked the coffin star. However, things did not go as he wished, and Michael was clearly preparing to interfere in his own affairs. Grandpa, your mecha is so beautiful. It looks like it was condensed from light. When Xia saw the light angel mecha, her two big eyes sparkled, and her little face was full of envy. Girls always have no resistance to beautiful things. The light angel mecha is unique and immediately attracted Xia's attention, even making her temporarily forget that she was still in a fierce battle. This little girl. Michael couldn't help but marvel when he saw Xia. He had seen countless so-called geniuses in his life. Among them was Xia Xingchen, who could only be said to be the best among geniuses. It was not until Michael saw Xia that he realized that the geniuses he had seen before were all mediocre. Only Xia's talent was qualified to be called a genius. Grandpa, I'm fighting this bad guy. Do you want to help me? Or do you want to help him? Xia asked with an innocent look on her face, blinking her big eyes. Of course I'm here to help you. Michael was delighted when he saw Xia. I came to support Lingju Star at the request of Xia Xingchen. Haha, Xia Xingchen gave me what I wanted most. This bargaining chip is too valuable. It's worth my life. Master. It's Master. Xia was delighted when she heard Xia Xingchen's name. She shouted loudly, where is he? Is he here too? Where is he? Master? Michael was slightly startled, and then he realized that the master Xia was talking about was Xia Xingchen. For some reason, Michael felt a little sour. Xia Xingchen is a boy of average talent, but he has good luck. It's such a waste of talent that he can have such a talented girl as his apprentice. If I could be her master, that would be fine. With my status, it's not easy for me to compete with the younger generation. Besides, Xia Xingchen has done me a favor, and it's not right to snatch his apprentice. Michael knew that he was jealous of Xia Xingchen. Chapter 1360, Battle of the Strong. Inside the coffin star. Due to Michael's sudden appearance, Xia and Andre temporarily ceased fighting. Michael, since you have been entrusted by Xia Xingchen to support the coffin star, you have already betrayed me. But, what about Xia Xingchen? Compared with Michael, Andre cares more about Xia Xingchen. Andre had been defeated by Xia Xingchen more than once, and even died in his hands once. Even the Imperial Guardian can't stop me. Only Xia Xingchen. With Andre's superb strength as a quasi-celestial being, he is still afraid of Xia Xingchen. I don't know. Michael smiled, and the light angel Mech took a fighting stance. Now, I will be your opponent. Xia Xingchen, you coward. Andre looked disdainful. It seems that Xia Xingchen doesn't dare to face me, so he lets you, an old man with one foot in the grave, come and die. Silence. Andre surprisingly doesn't even take the Imperial Guardian seriously. Michael's eyes were full of anger, and he sneered, Andre, you may be powerful, but you are stupid if you don't even take me seriously. Turn into light for me. With Michael's roar, thousands of golden rays emanated from the Angel of Light, and the 6 wings of light behind him flapped, with countless golden feathers generated in the space, and then shattered into light spots. The dazzling light condensed in the hands of the Angel of Light, turning into a huge hammer of light. Bang! As the hammer of light danced, endless golden light filled the interior of the planet, instantly covering the body of the Demon King Mecha. On Shinyuan Star, Xia Xingchen was defeated by this move. Boom. The energy on the hammer of light boiled, and it instantly arrived in front of Andre with endless power, and even the surrounding space boiled and shattered, with countless cracks like broken glass. Blade of Faith. Andre did not dare to neglect it. The Demon King Mech clenched his hands in the air, and the pure mental power condensed in the hands of the Mech, gathering into a huge two-handed sword, 70 or 80 meters long, with a dull sword edge, and no sharp edge. A heavy sword has no edge, and great skill is not good. When the two-handed sword reaches the size and weight of the Blade of Faith, it is no longer important whether it opens the blade or not. The biggest weakness of the Demon King Mech is that there is no Mech weapon to match it. However, Andre obviously has mastered the equipment of the divine weapon system in Xia Xingchen's hand, and can directly condense mental power into a Mech weapon. The Blade of Faith exudes pure mental power and gathers into a barrier, like a huge shield, protecting the Demon King Mech, and resisting the light bombardment of the Angel of Light. Boom. Ripples appeared on the mental barrier, constantly shaking around, and countless fine cracks appeared on the barrier, as if it would break at any time. The huge body of the Demon King Mecha also retreated more than 10 steps due to the huge impact force, and its back hit a tall building before it stopped. What a strong attack. Andre looked at Michael in shock, his face uncertain. The Guardian of the Empire is famous, and is indeed not an ordinary person. In order to resist the attack just now, I consumed a full 30% of my mental power. Michael was also shocked. How is it possible? He can actually withstand my full strength attack. Michael has been famous for decades, and no one has ever been able to withstand his full strength attack. Andre is the first. The information given to me by the Ascendant Alliance is correct. Andre was planted with a mental power seed by a celestial being, which forced his strength to be raised to a quasi-celestial being. However, since he met me, I will strangle him in the cradle. Otherwise, Andre will become even more powerful in the future. Michael thought to this point. Boom. The light around the Light Angel Mecha became even more dazzling, gathering into a vortex of light. This vortex of light continued to rotate counterclockwise, like a brilliant nebula, surrounding the Light Angel. These surrounding flame nebulae exuded incredible energy pressure, sweeping towards the Demon King Mecha. The mental barrier outside the Demon King Mecha collapsed instantly. What a terrifying energy fluctuation. Is this old guy going to fight to the death? Andre's face showed a look of astonishment, his eyes fixed on the vortex of light that spread out in circles around the Light Angel. Boom. The dazzling and brilliant vortex of light, like a nebula, continued to rotate counterclockwise, and the range became smaller and smaller, and finally gathered on the light hammer in the hand of the Light Angel Mecha, causing its light to expand again, like an exploding supernova. For a moment, the entire light hammer was transmitting powerful energy fluctuations, as if there were countless nuclear bombs, constantly exploding on the hammer. Burn the light. Michael shouted in a deep voice. His voice was not loud, but it contained infinite murderous intent. Boom. The warhammer with infinite power smashed down at the Demon King's Mecha. The warhammer, which was flashing with dazzling golden light, turned into a huge mountain of light, towering and overwhelming, like a mountain pressing down on the top, and blasted towards the Demon King's Mecha. The light was completely defenseless, and it directly penetrated the thick armor of the Demon King's Mecha and directly hit the internal core of the Mecha. Turn into light for me. Destroy it completely. Michael's roar hit Andre's eardrums, and kept echoing in his mind. Humph. Facing Michael's powerful attack, Andre snorted disdainfully. In his opinion, although Michael was powerful, he was a mortal after all. There was an insurmountable gap between him and himself, who was about to become a celestial being. Michael's light warhammer bombarded, although the energy fluctuations were extremely terrifying, and it was accompanied by mental attacks, which could directly destroy the enemy's will. But it did not cause any harm to Andre, at most it just made him look surprised. Bang! The bombardment of the light hammer has reached Andre. Wow. A white light flashed, and the two-handed sword in the hands of the Demon King Mech raised up and chopped the light hammer head on. With a terrifying roar, the light hammer was split head on and turned into countless light points and dissipated. The light angel Mech was also shaken by the huge force and flew backwards directly, flying a distance of dozens of kilometers. After barely standing firm, Michael stood in the air with a look of astonishment. This move. I lost again. Michael looked incredulous and was stunned on the spot. Andre actually attacked from the front and defeated me. Michael, is this the strength of your Empire Guardian? Not good enough. Andre laughed strangely and mocked mercilessly. Horrible. Too terrifying. Michael was shocked. He had never seen such a powerful mecha master. Andre's strength is not strong in one aspect, but strong in all aspects. Andre's personal mental power is quasi-celestial, and his mecha Demon King mecha is ranked first in the rankings. The most terrifying thing is that Andre's mental power is like a vast ocean, endless. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1361, Cutting Off the Fire. If this goes on, I will definitely lose. I may even die here. Michael frowned. He had just used up most of his mental power by launching powerful attacks continuously. The energy of the light angel can be directly replenished by solar energy, but his mental power cannot be replenished quickly. Little girl, stop watching. Fight with the old man. Do you want to watch the coffin star being destroyed by Andre? Michael knew that he was no match for Andre and shouted at Clissa, who was standing beside him. Clissa's little face showed an expression as if she had just woken up from a dream, and she said disappointedly, "Master is really not here?" Clissa had not made a move and joined forces with Michael to attack Andre because she thought that with Xia Xingchen there, she didn't have to make a move at all. However, Clissa was disappointed. Seeing that Michael was about to lose, Xia Xingchen had not yet appeared, and she was afraid that he was really not on the coffin star. "Grandpa, I'll help you." Kirissa didn't dare to wait any longer and hurriedly drove the thunder mech, flashing colorful energy balls around it, and rushed towards the Demon King mech. "Just go together." Andre showed a grim smile on his face. His body was filled with murderous aura, and he exuded a strong mental pressure. After two fierce battles with Kirissa and Michael, his mental power fluctuations did not decrease but increased, reaching the peak state. Three mechas started a fierce battle inside the coffin star. Golden light, like a sharp arrow, filled the entire space. Colorful energy balls kept flying out and exploded in the air, and mushroom clouds scattered one after another. The Demon King mech kept appearing, a barrier of faith around it, and the two-handed giant sword swung, and a huge vortex like a nebula appeared. Boom. With the repeated slashes of the two-handed giant sword in the hands of the Demon King mech, Kirissa was the first to be unable to hold on. The continuous fierce battles made her mental power very exhausted. At this moment, she was almost exhausted. She was violently impacted and flew backwards thousands of meters away. Michael was not having a good time either. He could only barely resist because of the superior performance of the light angel mech. However, Michael obviously couldn't hold on for long. On the other side, Andre's momentum was even higher. Between his gestures, a nebula vortex was generated. His mental power seemed to never be exhausted, and he became more and more courageous as he fought. "Humph, I will kill both of you today." Blood sacrifice to the Demon King mech. Andre snorted coldly, and the blood vessels on his face floated. Through the skin, one could even see the blood flowing rapidly, and his face was full of madness. Michael felt a huge pressure, and was blown away by a move. He spit out blood, and sprayed it on the transparent glass of the cockpit. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with his right hand, looked up at the sky, and smiled bitterly. "Xia Xingchen, don't lie to me. Do you really have a way to defeat this monster, Andre?" Coffin star, outer space. Star Arc, in the huge cabin. Xia Xingchen is gathering troops. New Bloody Mary Group, the 1st Legion of Stars, and the Fiery Sun Expeditionary Force. Nearly 70,000 mecha divisions have assembled and are ready for battle, and the fighting spirit is boiling. Xia Xingchen stood on a high place, wearing a black general uniform, with a stern face, and said in a deep voice, "Time is running out, no more nonsense. All troops attack. Target, the Shinran religion fleet. We will fight to the death." The mecha divisions shouted, the hatch of the Star Domain Arc opened, and the army flew towards the direction of the Shinran religion fleet. This time, Xia Xingchen did not lead the troops to the battle in person, and handed over the command to Zakarin teaching on the front line. Xia Xingchen came from the military, and knew that the situation in the front was changing rapidly. He must delegate power to his subordinates to achieve better results. Besides Xia Xingchen, Li Huami, wearing a white captain's skirt uniform, stood aside, with a puzzled look on her face. "Sir, I don't quite understand." "Yeah." Xia Xingchen nodded. Andre led the Shinran sect fleet to attack Lingjiu Star. Due to the defense of Lingjiu Star, the Shinran sect fleet could not attack Lingjiu Star, and could only wait outside the starry sky. At this moment, Andre was wreaking havoc on Lingjiu Star alone. The best tactic should be for the Star Domain Arc to land directly on Lingjiu Star, and for you to lead the army in person, with more people against fewer, to surround and kill Andre. No matter how strong Andre is, he can't be a match for so many of us. Li Huami has been studying the art of war recently, and feels that she has made some progress. However, Xia Xingchen's tactics are completely different from what she expected. "Huami, you are right. According to common sense, we should directly support Lingjiu Star, help Krissa and Michael, and surround and kill Andre. However, this is not an ordinary situation. Andre is not an ordinary mecha master, he is a quasi-celestial being. Extraordinary people can only be dealt with by extraordinary methods. You know too little about celestial beings, and don't understand how terrifying they are. Why is Andre terrifying? Is it because of his mental power level? Or is it because of the Demon King mecha?" Xia Xingchen asked. Li Huami had also been paying attention to the battle on the Coffin Star. After thinking for a while, she said, "There is nothing about Andre that is not terrifying. His superpowers, mental power, and mechas are all top-notch among humans. Of course, the most terrifying thing is his vast and almost inexhaustible mental power. Krissa and Michael are strong enough. However, their mental power has been exhausted, but Andre is still at ease. Could it be that the pressure on Andre is not enough?" "No," Xia Xingchen said decisively, "it's because Andre's mental power is constantly replenished during the battle. If I guess correctly, Andre's purpose in bringing the Shinran sect army is to absorb the power of faith of the Shinran sect followers. The power of faith is the best means to replenish mental power. Therefore, if you want to kill Andre, you must cut off his supplies. I ordered an attack on the Shinran sect fleet, which is to cut off the source of the fire, the power of faith." Li Huami was confused. She didn't understand what the power of faith was. In fact, in the entire Milky Way, among the trillions of human beings, only a very small number of people know the existence of the power of faith, and there are even fewer people who know how to use the power of faith. Due to the existence of the source of faith, Xia Xingchen is one of the very few people who know the existence of the power of faith, and can use the power of faith. From the beginning, when the God's messenger established the chosen organization, and changed its appearance, and turned it into a religion, Xia Xingchen felt something was wrong, and began to think about the real purpose of the Shinran religion. After knowing the existence of the power of faith, Xia Xingchen suddenly realized the real purpose of the Elder Shinran hiding in the Shinran religion. The Elder Shinran, unlike other Shinran, are not facing to destroy mankind. They find God's messenger as an agent, establish a religion, and confuse the believers. The purpose is to enslave humans spiritually, and provide them with a large amount of faith power. Obviously, Andre has mastered the secret method of converting the power of faith into spiritual power. If you want to defeat Andre, you must eradicate the source of the power of faith for him. That is, the fleet of the Shinran religion hiding in the starry sky. Chapter 1362 Triple Preparation. The three mecha corps of the Star Domain Arc attacked the fleet of the Shinran sect from the rear. In the Shinran sect's spaceship, the believers in robes were sitting cross-legged on the deck in groups of 3 or 4, making strange hand seals with their hands, and chanting the teachings of the Shinran sect. Enemy attack. Someone shouted. Kill. The believers stood up one after another, their faces full of crazy enthusiasm, and they raised their arms and shouted. Armed mechas kept flying out of the Shinran sect's spaceship, and the mecha armies of both sides started a melee in the space outside the coffin star. The artillery fire from both sides came and went, and in the dark starry sky, energy beams kept passing through, bombs exploded, and flames flashed. A heavy rain of light. Under the bombardment of the mecha energy weapons, the external armor of the Shinran sect's flagship soon exceeded the load limit, and began to melt rapidly. Boom. The nuclear reactor was accurately hit, causing a violent explosion, which turned into a ball of light in the starry sky. After a brief expansion and explosion, it dissipated silently. As the flagship was destroyed, fireballs appeared one after another next to it, and starships were constantly hit. In the changes of light and heat, they evaporated into countless atoms in the high energy beams. In such a fierce battle, Xia Xingchen's soldiers were not without damage. Mechas were hit one after another, and even a Shinran religion mecha master rushed up and exploded frantically. A Liang warrior was dealing with the enemy in front of him, but he didn't expect that someone rushed over from behind. Boom. The Shinran religion mecha exploded, and in the high energy explosion, the Liang warrior also fell. In addition, as the only flagship, the star domain arc was constantly attacked by energy beams. However, the attacks of the Shinran religion starships and mechas could not penetrate the energy shield of the star domain arc at all. The cannons on the hull of the star domain arc fired continuously, bombarding the distant Shinran sect starship to suppress the fire. The battlefield was one-sided. Xia Xingchen's side had an absolute advantage. Although the Shinran sect's mecha divisions were fearless, they were not as good as the elite soldiers on the star domain arc who had experienced the battlefield. In a blink of an eye, they were defeated. However, facing such an advantageous battle situation, Xia Xingchen's face on the bridge of the star domain arc did not smile, but still frowned and said nothing. The surprise attack on the Shinran sect's fleet will win this battle. Xia Xingchen had already known it in his mind. The only difficulty was how to eat up the Shinran sect's fleet without alarming Andre. Once Andre discovered that someone was attacking the Shinran sect fleet, he would most likely leave the coffin star to defend. With Andre's terrifying strength, if he returned to defend, the situation would be reversed in an instant, and the original advantage would be gone. Therefore, concealing and delaying Andre is the focus of this battle. In order to achieve this strategic goal, Xia Xingchen made 3 preparations. The first preparation. On the star domain arc, the Khan family space turned on a high-power signal jammer to block the signal of the space near the coffin star. Of course, the communication between the Shinran sect and Andre may use mental power or some unknown Shinran technology. This preparation has little effect. The second preparation. It is Michael. Xia Xingchen asked Michael to try his best to delay Andre. At least attract his attention, so that he has no time to care about the starry sky. The third preparation. It is the sudden attack of Xia Xingchen's mecha core. According to Xia Xingchen's rough estimate, if the battle is completely over within 2 hours, Andre may not have reacted yet. If it exceeds 2 hours, then every minute, Andre's probability of discovering and returning to defense will increase significantly. This is a rigorous test of the mecha core ability to attack. In fact, Xia Xingchen has one last preparation. It is himself. The reason why Xia Xingchen did not personally participate in the battle to attack the starships of the Shinran sect was to stay on the star domain arc in order to prevent emergencies. If Michael fails and cannot stop Andre, attract his attention, and is rushed out of the coffin star, then Xia Xingchen will stop Andre at the cost of his own life. I have tried my best. The rest can only be left to luck. Xia Xingchen kept looking down at the time, paying close attention to the battle situation in the starry sky. Minutes and seconds passed. On the coffin star, Michael and Kirissa struggled to hold on. Andre was in a bloodthirsty state, killing like crazy, teasing Michael and Kirissa like a cat catching a mouse. Kirissa's thunder mech was already scarred, the outer armor had peeled off, the glass baffle of the cockpit was shattered, and her body was exposed to the outside without any defense. Andre's light angel mech was condensed with light all over, so it would not be damaged. But the dazzling golden light that was originally strong and dazzling was now extremely dim, like a candle in the wind, which could be extinguished at any time. Ha ha ha. Who can stop me? Who can stop me? Andre laughed wildly, and in the bloodthirsty state, his eyes were red, like a hungry wolf on the snowfield. The bloodthirsty ability is very powerful. However, there are also weaknesses. In the bloodthirsty state, Andre's physical and mental strength have reached the peak of human beings. However, the perception ability will be greatly weakened. The most obvious manifestation is that in the bloodthirsty state, Andre will not feel pain at all. This ability is not a disadvantage in ordinary wars, but an advantage. However, Andre was in this state, but he did not sense the weak mental fluctuations constantly coming from the starry sky. It was the followers of the Shinran sect asking for help. He just felt that his mental power was continuously decreasing, and the power of faith he received was much less than before. Andre did not care too much, because the power of faith provided by the believers was not infinite. With Andre's current mental power reserve, it is enough to kill Michael and Kirissa and destroy the Coffin Star. Boom. The two-handed sword in the hands of the Demon King Mech fell heavily and slashed hard on the Light Angel Mech, making a loud noise. The Light Angel Mech was instantly shattered and turned into countless flying light fragments. Michael's body also fell from the air. Defeat. Michael's face was covered with blood during the fall, and a bitter smile appeared on his face. Michael never thought that he, the guardian of the empire, would be in Andre's hands. He would die on the Coffin Star. People die for money, and birds die for food. For the light particle alienation technique, I can only fight for my life. Even though I already knew that I was not Andre's opponent. Michael's ears were filled with the whistling sound of the wind, which was the call of the god of death. On the other side, the Thunder Mech also completely disintegrated, scattered into parts, and fell to the ground. Kirissa spread a pair of transparent wind wings behind her, trying to escape. Bang! The giant palm of the demon mecha was merciless and slapped Kirissa. No. In the core area, Meredith screamed and covered her eyes with both hands, not daring to look again. Meredith had already experienced the heart-wrenching feeling of losing her daughter once, and she didn't want to experience it a second time. Chapter 1363, Enemies Meet. At this moment, a red mecha figure appeared in the sky, like a brilliant meteor, rushing towards the huge palm of the Demon King mecha. Boom. With a violent explosion, the palm of the Demon King mecha was blown away by the shockwave. And the red mecha was also blown away by the huge force, flying backwards dozens of kilometers away. This mecha was Xia Xingchen's Suzuki mecha. On the Suzuki mecha, Xia Xingchen's mental clone flickered and was severely damaged. On the other side, a Cyan mecha figure flew into the air, holding Klissa with both hands and gently putting her into the cockpit. Master. Klissa saw that the man in the driving chair was Xia Xingchen, and her face showed surprise. She cheered and flew into Xia Xingchen's arms like a happy deer. Xia Xingchen groaned. His face was pale, and a stream of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Master, are you injured? Klissa looked concerned, and her long eyelashes fluttered. Andre's strength is too terrifying. Just one strike, and he almost completely destroyed my spiritual clone. Xia Xingchen sighed, still frightened. He had a new understanding of Andre's strength. Yeah. Andre is very powerful, more powerful than anyone I've ever seen. Even Kirissa and Grandpa combined are not his opponents. Kirissa pouted and said. The Azure Dragon mecha rescued Kirissa. In the core area, the researchers all breathed a sigh of relief. Meredith was also surprised and happy, with a smile on her face. It's Xia Xingchen. He finally showed up. It's him. The man of miracles. He shows up again. Will he cause another miracle? When the researchers saw Xia Xingchen, most of them looked longing. Even Xia Xingchen can't be Andre's opponent. Andre is too strong. No one can save us. There were also a few people who were very pessimistic, including Meredith. Of course, Meredith didn't think he was pessimistic, but rational. With his powerful analytical ability and intelligence far beyond that of ordinary people, Meredith could instantly see the difference in strength between the two sides. Even Xia Xingchen was definitely not Andre's opponent. In the entire galaxy, even Roger, the strongest man in the human world, might not be Andre's opponent. Huh. Xia Xingchen. You coward, you finally showed up. On the Demon King mecha, Andre raised his eyebrows slightly, and then a hideous smile appeared on his handsome face. He was not surprised by Xia Xingchen's appearance. In fact, Andre felt that he had many opportunities to kill Michael and Kirissa. However, Andre did not use his full strength, but teased and tortured the two. His purpose was to lure Xia Xingchen out. Although Xia Xingchen's strength was far inferior to his own, Andre had always had a large shadow in his heart. Xia Xingchen had even become Andre's inner demon. Without killing Xia Xingchen, Andre would never be able to evolve perfectly and be promoted from a quasi-celestial being to a celestial being. I won't feel at ease until you die. Since you can't help but show up, I will never let you escape. Xia Xingchen, do you know? I miss you so much. Andre looked resentful. Miss me? Xia Xingchen sneered. Andre, you are not a gay like your godfather Nicholas. Sorry, I disappoint you. I only like women, beautiful women. I have no interest in men at all. Of course I miss you. I miss you all the time. I always want you to die. Xia Xingchen, have you ever experienced the pain of death? That feeling is really unforgettable, and I will never forget it for the rest of my life. Andre looked down at Xia Xingchen from above and shouted viciously. Die. I'm not interested either. Xia Xingchen looked up and looked at Andre coldly. You must die. Your life will succumb to my power. You cannot control your own destiny. There is only one way to go. Andre shouted angrily, and the huge body of the Demon King mech slowly floated into the air. A strong mental pressure permeated the mech, which gathered into a translucent grey cloud like a substance, and slowly rotated like a galaxy. Xia Xingchen just looked up at the Demon King mech, and felt the pressure of a mountain looming over his body. If it weren't for the excellent protection of the King Lang mech, he would definitely not be able to support it. This terrifying mental pressure alone would make his brain explode and die. The gap between me and Andre is really like the boundless abyss of stars. Xia Xingchen sighed. Facing Andre, he once again felt that he was extremely small, like an ant. Andre was right. If it was a head-on battle, Xia Xingchen would not be able to defeat him with one move. However, Xia Xingchen had no intention of fighting Andre one-on-one and head-on. He had already made full preparations. Come out. Xia Xingchen's face showed no fear at all. He looked at Andre with a provocative look and shouted. Behind the Azure Dragon mecha, thousands of light spots flickered in the sky. One mecha after another appeared. There were tens of thousands of mechas, with solemn military appearance and excellent equipment. They were the three mecha legions on the Star Domain arc. Xia Xingchen was not a fool. Of course, he would not fight Andre alone. Is this your mecha army? Andre was not panicked at all when he saw such a battle-hardened elite mecha army. A sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. Xia Xingchen, you don't think that at my level, I will be defeated by this group of miscellaneous soldiers, right? No matter how many people there are, they are just cannon fodder to me. Michael fell from the sky and was rescued by Kinhaitian driving a broken mecha when he was about to approach the ground. After a short meditation, his face had returned to normal. He looked up at the sky and shook his head slightly. Xia Xingchen, it's useless. For a legendary mecha master who has the ability to destroy a country alone, no matter how many troops there are, it is useless. At most, it will make Andre consume some energy and mental power. However, Andre's mental power reserves are almost unlimited. Michael is called the Guardian of the Empire and also has the terrifying ability to destroy a country alone. He once faced 100,000 rebel mechas alone. On the battlefield full of war, he walked leisurely and killed the enemy commander as if he was in an empty space. What Michael can do, Andre can do as well. In Michael's opinion, it is a bit naive for Xia Xingchen to win by relying on numbers. Haha. Xia Xingchen smiled. Andre, do you think I'm stupid? In fact, you are stupid. Haven't you realized yet that all your Shinran sect followers have been wiped out? Your supply of faith power has been cut off. Your mental power can no longer be restored. Ants are small, but if there are many ants, they can kill an elephant. My men are all dead men. Even if they risk their lives, they will besiege you and exhaust your mental power. Kill you again. Aren't you afraid of death? It doesn't matter. I will kill you this time and grind you to ashes. There is no possibility of resurrection. What? All my Shinran sect followers have been destroyed? Andre's face suddenly changed. Chapter 1364. Escape to the Starry Sea. How is it possible? There are tens of millions of ordinary believers in my Shinran sect, tens of thousands of starships, and millions of carrier-based mechas. How can it be destroyed just like that? Andre couldn't believe it. Xia Xingchen's words were incredible. In such a short time, there was no sign at all. Although Andre didn't believe it, seeing that Xia Xingchen's words were true, he hurriedly contacted the believers through his mental power. Time passed second by second. With each passing second, Andre's face turned paler. In just 1 minute, Andre's calm and confident face had disappeared without a trace, replaced by fear and panic. Although Andre was powerful, whether he used the mental attack method of quasi-Shinran or controlled the Demon King Mecha, it took a lot of mental power. Without the power of faith provided by the Shinran sect believers, Andre became a tree without roots and water without a source. If he was besieged and his mental power was exhausted, he would indeed die. Xia Xingchen knew. Andre gnashed his teeth, and several thoughts flashed through his mind. Andre, you are very strong, but you will still be defeated by me. This is called good cannot defeat evil. Even if you work as a puppet for the gods, you cannot escape the fate of death. Xia Xingchen's face was calm, with a smile on his face, as if he was sure of victory. No way. Andre's confidence was wavering. He regarded Xia Xingchen as his nemesis. As the saying goes, the one who knows you best is not your friend, but your enemy. Andre believed that he knew Xia Xingchen's character very well. Although Xia Xingchen often did reckless things that violated common sense, but in fact, he was very measured in doing things. He would only take risks when he had to. I lost this round. Even if I stayed and fought against Xia Xingchen and his Mecha army, the outcome was already determined. Even if I could destroy tens of thousands of mechas, I would still die in the end. As long as there is life, there is no need to worry about firewood. Andre was also a decisive person. When he thought of this, energy surged out from the feet of the Demon King Mecha, and the huge Mecha body, which was 100 meters high, soared into the air, turned around in the air, and actually drilled directly into the ground, drilling a big hole in the middle of the city. Andre is going to escape. He wants to drill through the crust of Lingju Star and escape directly. Xingchen was shocked and shouted hurriedly, subconsciously wanting to take people to intercept Andre. Let him go. Don't chase the desperate enemy. Xia Xingchen stretched out his hand and embraced Xingchen. Boom. The earth rumbled and shook. In a flash, the Demon King Mecha passed through several kilometers of the earth's crust and reached the outside of the Lingju Star. Without stopping, it flew directly into the air, passed through the thin atmosphere of the Lingju Star, and entered the universe. Andre passed through the Lingju Star singularity and saw many starships and mecha wreckage floating in outer space, and countless broken limbs, which showed how fierce the battle was just now. The tens of millions of followers of the Shinran sect that I worked so hard to develop all died. Andre was completely dumbfounded. The previous envoy of God made great contributions to the development of the Shinran sect to this day. But after Andre took over, in just a few years, the Shinran sect was completely destroyed. Was it regarded as a cult by the Empire? Even the followers who had worked so hard to develop were killed by Xia Xingchen. Andre's heart was cold. Xia Xingchen didn't lie to me. In such a short time, he really killed all the followers of Shinran sect. He killed tens of millions of people and his hands were stained with blood. The blood vessels on Andre's face subsided, and he completely broke away from the bloodthirsty state. Fear enveloped his whole body, making his body tremble uncontrollably. What should I do? Without the followers, I can't replenish the power of faith. I can only escape, one step at a time. Andre didn't dare to stay any longer, and drove the Demon King Mecha with all his strength, flying towards the depths of the starry sky. Compared with the shame of losing to Xia Xingchen again, Andre cared more about the anger of Shinran. Within the Galactic Empire, Shinran sect was destroyed, and tens of millions of followers were lost, making the hard work of the previous God's envoy turn into a dream bubble. As a leader, Andre has an unshakable responsibility. Shinran can let Andre replace the previous God's envoy, and of course, he can also let others replace Andre. Whether it is the previous God's envoy or Andre, in the eyes of Shinran, they are all pawns. The only difference is which chess piece is more useful. During his escape, Andre quietly used his foresight, and he had seen his tragic fate in the future. The Elder Celestials were extremely angry, and Andre was unable to bear their wrath, and his end was extremely miserable. No, I can't let such a tragic future happen. Is there any way for me to make up for my mistakes? Regain the favor of the Celestials? Andre racked his brains, and after a long time, a crazy plan emerged from his mind. It's come to this. This is the only way to go. Andre took a deep breath, made up his mind, and drove the Demon King Mech towards the territory of the Northern Empire. Coffin Star. What a pity that Andre escaped. Michael recondensed the Light Angel Mech. The light around the Mech was dim, and it was seriously damaged. It flew towards Xia Xingchen and sighed, having missed this great opportunity. I'm afraid there will be no chance to kill this devil Andre again. Great opportunity? I don't think so. Xia Xingchen shook his head. Although Andre has lost his mental power supply, his strength is still there. After calculation by the Star Domain Arc's optical computer, I have to lose at least 30,000 mechas to prevent Andre from escaping, and at least 50,000 mechas to kill Andre. The loss is too heavy, I can't afford it. But, letting the tiger go back to the mountain will only bring disaster to the people. By then, there will be more deaths. I'm afraid it will be calculated in trillions. Michael sighed and said bitterly, I will stop him. Xia Xingchen's eyes flashed with a strange light, and he said confidently, I'm no match for Andre now. I must improve my strength as soon as possible and narrow the gap with Andre. I have figured it out. I'm going to join the Ascender Alliance. The next time I see Andre, I will kill him. Ah. Are you willing to join the Ascender Alliance? Michael was delighted and rubbed his hands. It's good that you have figured it out. In this way, my mission is also completed. Fortunately, I have fulfilled my mission. Thousands of starships and tens of millions of believers of the Shinran sect were surrounded and killed by the army led by Xia Xingchen, and the whole army was annihilated. Since then, within the Galactic Empire, only a few stubborn fans of the Shinran sect were left, wandering around, and were wanted and surrounded by the military and police departments of the Galactic Empire, and were purged. The leader of the Shinran sect, Andre, fled to the Star Sea and disappeared. The Coffin Star was rescued. Chapter 1365 Important Decision. Finally rescued. After confirming that Andre had fled to the Starry Sea, the starships of the Shinran sect were all destroyed, and the Lingju Star was safely rescued. Kirissa finally breathed a sigh of relief, and her tense nerves also relaxed. Thank you, Master. Kirissa thanked Xia Xingchen with a smile on her face. Haha, why are you being polite to me? Xia Xingchen also smiled. In fact, I didn't do anything. If it weren't for you and the Angel of Light Michael fighting desperately, the consequences would be disastrous. Well, Kirissa wanted to say something, but her eyes went black, the world spun around, and she fell head first. Xia Xingchen was startled and hurried to hug Kirissa, thinking that she had fainted due to overdrawn mental power, and hurriedly infused mental power into her body. However, Kirissa was still unconscious, and showed no signs of waking up. Xia Xingchen's heart tightened, and he hurriedly drove the Kinglang Mecha to land in front of the core area of Lingju Star. As soon as the Mecha landed, Meredith led people out of the research institute and said excitedly, Kirissa, Xia Xingchen. Xia Xingchen held Kirissa in both hands, and jumped down from the 10-meter high cockpit, nervously saying, Kirissa has fainted. The reason is unknown. Call a doctor quickly. Meredith's face turned pale when she heard this, and she quickly notified the Lingjuxing Medical Research Institute to send emergency personnel to send her to the emergency center for rescue. Xia Xingchen stood in the corridor outside the emergency center, like an ant on a hot pot, waiting for 3 hours. Meredith came out wearing a white coat and a mask on her face. As a family member, she watched Kirissa's emergency surgery next to the operating table. Meredith? How is Kirissa? Xia Xingchen asked hurriedly. I just used the domain to explore. Her vitality is very strong. Her physical condition is also normal, but why did she suddenly faint? I don't know. It may be that the remaining spiritual power of the celestial being is too strong, which impacted her brain. The doctor said that, although her life is not in danger, she will not wake up in a short time. Whether she can wake up in the future is also unknown. Meredith took off her mask tears in her beautiful eyes, and her face was full of anxiety. This is not good news. Xia Xingchen remained silent. Xia Xingchen stayed by Chris's bedside for a month. For Xia Xingchen, a busy man, a month is already a very long time. Li Huami left the star domain arc more than once, and went to the research institute of Lingjiu Star to urge Xia Xingchen, and remind him of time. There are still many things waiting for him, and he can't stay on Lingjiu Star. I know. Xia Xingchen delayed again and again, guarding in front of Kalis's bed, holding a fairy tale book in his hand, sitting on a chair, and reading fairy tales softly. Kalis's face was ruddy, her breathing was steady, her silver hair was scattered on the pillow, but her eyes were tightly closed, as if she was asleep. Kalisa, I'm sorry, Master can't stay with you any longer. I have to leave. Xia Xingchen heard the crisp sound of high heels hitting the floor in the corridor, and knew that Li Huami was urging him again. He stood by the bed, reached out and stroked Kalisa's tender little face, smoothed the scattered silver hair to the side of her face, and said reluctantly. Kalisa did not respond, still sleeping. Only the fluctuation of her mental power showed a faint ripple, as if answering, I know. Xia Xingchen walked out of the ward, and saw Li Huami standing outside the door waiting. She smiled apologetically. I've kept you waiting for so long. Li Huami shook her head and said, we follow you, so we naturally have to obey your orders. Moreover, you are a man of loyalty and righteousness. This also makes us more convinced that following you is the right choice. My lord, what should we do next? Should we stay in the Galactic Empire or return to the Chaos Star region? Xia Xingchen thought for a while and said, let's go find Meredith first. I have an important decision to announce. Lingjuxing Research Institute, core area. It was also the first time for Xia Xingchen to set foot in this mysterious place. In the office, Xia Xingchen met Meredith. Meredith was still the same, with messy golden hair like a chicken coop, casually tied into a ponytail, dark circles under his eyes, unlit lady's cigarette in his mouth, and a wrinkled white lab coat on his body. It was unknown how long he hadn't had a good rest. Xingchen, you are here. Sit down. Meredith waved and threw the research materials on a sofa on the ground, and greeted Xia Xingchen warmly. Director, you have to take care of yourself. Xia Xingchen's omniscience quietly unfolded, and found that Meredith was physically weak, especially her brain was in a state of severe fatigue, and she was supported by taking some psychiatric drugs. Her physical and mental conditions were not optimistic. If it continued for a long time, she would probably collapse. Alas, I've been too busy recently. The incident of the Shinran sect made me realize the inadequacy of the defense of Lingju Star. We have been too careless all along. So, in order to upgrade the prevention and control of Lingju Star, I haven't slept for a few days. Meredith sighed and drank coffee to refresh herself, but the effect is very small. Andre is too powerful. Now he has become a stray dog, and he may sneak into Lingju Star at any time to destroy it. Lingju Star can no longer withstand a disaster of this scale for the second time. Krissa is also in a deep sleep. I don't know when she will wake up. Without her, Lingju Star is simply defenseless. Meredith complained to Xia Xingchen. Xia Xingchen nodded slightly. I came here for this matter. The next step is to join the Promoter Alliance and improve my strength as soon as possible. Therefore, I have to leave Lingju Star, and I don't know how long I can come back. Are you leaving too? Meredith was stunned, with disappointment on her face. If you were here, I would feel a little relieved. If you leave too, Lingju Star. But, that's right, with your identity, you can't stay on Lingju Star forever. Director, you misunderstood. Xia Xingchen smiled. My father's IU is also on Lingju Star, as well as my teachers, Hao Xian, Zuo Leheng, Popovich, Lester, and my apprentice Krissa. On this planet, there are my family, teachers, and friends. This is my home. I have long regarded Lingju Star as my second hometown. I will not let my hometown be invaded by the enemy again. Although I'm leaving temporarily, I plan to leave my star domain arc behind. Leave my Mecha Legion behind as the defense force of Lingju Star. Ah. We stay? Li Huami was shocked. What? You don't agree? Xia Xingchen asked. No. It's just that we are worried about your safety. However, Since it is your decision, we, as your subordinates, will definitely obey your orders. Li Huamei stood at attention and saluted, looking heroic. Chapter 1366 White Castle Bar. Well, that's settled. You stay and defend the Coffin Star. Beware of Andre's attack. I'll go to the Ascendant Alliance alone. Xia Xingchen nodded and said, great. With your men here, Andre won't dare to attack the Coffin Star easily. Meredith was excited. She had witnessed the battle between the Star Domain Arc and the Celestial Religion starships, and knew that Xia Xingchen's men were all elite soldiers who had fought in hundreds of battles. It was they who forced Andre to retreat. With them here to protect the Coffin Star, even if Andre was crazy and bloodthirsty, he wouldn't dare to act rashly. Xia Xingchen was ready to leave the Coffin Star alone, and naturally received a farewell from Popovich, Lester, Hao Xian and others, who specially prepared a sumptuous farewell banquet. Xingchen, we've only been together for a month, and you're leaving again. Xia Yu's eyes were red, and he looked at his son with a look of reluctance. During this time, Xia Xingchen lived with his father. He went to the hospital to take care of the unconscious Carissa during the day, and chatted with his father at night, talking about some interesting things in the universe. In a month, in the blink of an eye, the father and son were about to part again. Dad, I will take good care of myself. Don't worry. Besides, I'm going to the Ascender Alliance this time, which is a place similar to a university. I'm going to school, not to participate in the war. Xia Xingchen comforted his father. That's good, that's good. Zhuo Leheng and several others also came over and told Xia Yu about the situation of the Ascender Alliance. He was slightly relieved. Xingchen. To be honest, although I have some relationship with the Ascender Alliance, I have never been to the Alliance. Michael has also stayed on the Coffin Star to recover from his injuries. He walked over and said, it is said that their base camp is not a planet, but a spaceship. Do you know how to get there? Xia Xingchen nodded. Before Cao Kang left, he left a note for Xia Xingchen with the coordinates of the starry sky. Xia Xingchen checked and found that it was a small planet called White Castle, and the location on the planet was a bar. The Coffin Star is not far from the White Castle. Xia Xingchen is ready to drive the Qinglang Mecha and directly jump to the White Castle. Everyone, since ancient times, people have been sad about parting. I won't say much nonsense. It's all in this glass of wine. Xia Xingchen smiled and stood up, holding a glass of wine in his hand, and drank it all. Have a good trip. Michael smiled and stood up. Xingchen, you have to be careful. Popovich looked concerned. I have heard some rumors about the Ascendant Alliance, but they are not good. I won't say anything. You should be careful and be more vigilant. Zhuo Leheng looked solemn and hesitated. Well, be careful in everything. Don't be ostentatious. The first bird to stick its head out will be shot. Lester also warned. Thank you, masters. I will return as soon as possible. Xia Xingchen smiled, bowed and thanked him, and then drove the Qinglang Mecha and jumped directly to the White Castle Star. On the Star Domain Arc, Xia Xingchen handed over all the command rights to Li Huamei. During this period of time, Li Huamei has grown a lot, from an interstellar pirate to a qualified starship captain. With her commanding the Star Domain Arc, Xia Xingchen is relieved. Beibao Star is an unknown small planet. The pillar industry of this planet is agriculture and animal husbandry, and it is a veritable rural place. Xia Xingchen drove the Qinglang Mecha to Beibao Star, quietly passed through the atmosphere, and landed on the planet. According to the address on the note, Xia Xingchen entered a small bar in a medium-sized town. This bar doesn't even have its own name. There are 2 floors above and below. The guests who patronize here are some dirty farmers. After work, they come back to the bar and order a glass of dark beer. Watching the slightly bloated dancers on the stage dancing erotically, they have spent a tiring but fulfilling day. Pushing open the door of the bar, a pungent smell of inferior alcohol and cosmetics hits the face. Xia Xingchen tightens his coat, lowers the brim of his hat, and walks into the bar. Under the dim light of the bar, many drinkers turned their heads and looked at Xia Xingchen curiously. Indeed, Xia Xingchen's young face and the aristocratic temperament that comes from being in the upper class for many years make him stand out from the crowd. Damn it. Xia Xingchen muttered. He really couldn't understand why the Ascendant Alliance, which was so famous and even people like Roger and Michael praised the Alliance, would choose such a rundown bar as the meeting place. Such a place reminded Xia Xingchen of his experience as an undercover star pirate Black Fox. It was also such a dirty and messy bar. But it allowed Xia Xingchen to meet the star princess Kinjana and started a legendary journey. "Hey, man, what do you want to order?" The bartender was a burly bearded man. When he saw Xia Xingchen coming over, he greeted him warmly. "A glass of the best wine you have here." "And Xiao Kang asked me to come." Xia Xingchen knocked on the table, and a dazzling star crystal appeared on the table. The value of a star crystal is enough to buy this small bar. Suddenly, there was a sound of people sucking in cold air in the bar. All the drinkers stared at the star crystal greedily. The bartender stretched out his hand and pressed the star crystal under his palm. His huge body pressed forward with a strange smile on his face. "What, Xiao Kang? I don't know. I only have dark beer here. No matter how much money you pay, you only have one glass of dark beer." Bang! A huge wooden cup smashed in front of Xia Xingchen, and the cup was filled with brown wine and white foam splashed. Xia Xingchen frowned and stared at the bartender's eyes. The bartender smiled and said, "Young man, this glass of wine is very strong. You are not a woman, are you?" As the bartender said this, there was a burst of laughter in the bar. Xia Xingchen didn't say much, and directly raised his head and drank the dark beer. Ironstone Brew from Manastar is a famous strong liquor in the Milky Way. Xia Xingchen grew up drinking Ironstone Brew, so he has a good alcohol tolerance. Moreover, he is now a legendary mecha master with strong mental power. His mental power can control the secretion of alcohol-degrading enzymes in the pituitary gland of the brain. As long as he doesn't want to get drunk, no matter how much he drinks, he won't feel drunk. However, after a glass of dark beer went down his throat, Xia Xingchen felt dizzy and the scenery in front of him doubled. "This beer is problematic," Xia Xingchen muttered to himself, and then he lay on the bar and fell asleep. HMPH, he fell down after one glass. Elder Xiao Kang must have made a mistake this time. This kid looks good and is young, but it's a pity that he is a coward. The bartender curled his lips in dissatisfaction, pressed the red button hidden on the bar, and whispered, "The one called Xia Xingchen is here. Send someone to take him away." "Oh, my head hurts." Xia Xingchen felt a splitting headache. He hadn't experienced this kind of bad feeling of a hangover for a long time. What is this place? Xia Xingchen found himself lying on a cold steel bed, covered with a thin wool blanket. This is a very small room, less than 20 square meters, with many double beds. At the end of the room was a small round porthole, and outside was the dark starry sky. "I'm on a spaceship." Xia Xingchen understood immediately. Chapter 1367 Generation Spaceship. "I was on the White Castle planet. I drank a glass of dark beer and passed out. When I woke up, I was on this spaceship." Xia Xingchen sorted out his chaotic thoughts, but he still couldn't figure out how he, a legendary, could be knocked out by a glass of dark beer. Not to mention alcohol. Even if the drink contained deadly poison, it would be dissolved by Xia Xingchen's powerful mental power. Obviously, there was something added to the dark beer. As for what it was that could knock out a legend, Xia Xingchen couldn't figure it out. Xia Xingchen walked to the porthole, looked out at the starry sky, and immediately took a breath of cold air. What is this? What came into view was a huge spaceship. Looking from the porthole to the side, Xia Xingchen was still shocked when he saw a small part of the spaceship, and his face changed drastically. The length of the hull of the spaceship is 10,000 meters, which can be called a behemoth. The star domain arc is also very large, even more amazing than the spaceship. However, the spaceship Xia Xingchen is on is far beyond Xia Xingchen's cognition. It's more like a planet than a spaceship. Xia Xingchen unfolded his omniscience to understand the general structure of this spaceship. Xia Xingchen's spirit body entered the universe and observed from a distance, barely able to see the full picture of the spaceship. The spaceship is a ring as a whole, like a huge tire, with a faint phosphorescent glow on the surface, floating in the universe. It is too big, with a diameter of about 30,000 kilometers and an internal diameter of 10,000 kilometers. The thickness is about 20,000 kilometers. Xia Xingchen rubbed his eyes in disbelief, and once again confirmed that he was not wrong. This spaceship is the size of a planet. What's more exaggerated is that this spaceship is not a man-made thing, but a real human product. It was created, since the Earth Age, to explore the boundaries of the universe. Only humans in the Earth Age would not hesitate to spend a lot of resources to build such a huge and shocking giant spaceship. Its core is a large nuclear fusion reactor that continuously generates electricity to maintain the energy supply of the entire spaceship. The headquarters of the Ascender Alliance is actually a spaceship from the Earth era. Xia Xingchen was shocked. He pushed open the hatch and walked to the corridor. In the corridor, several men in mecha combat suits were walking hurriedly forward. Huh? Are you a new member too? Why are you standing there like an idiot? I just notified everyone to gather in Area A. A man in a black mecha combat suit looked at Xia Xingchen in surprise. Oh. Xia Xingchen was a little confused about the situation. He nodded stupidly and followed a few people to the gathering place. Without the need for the omniscience field, Xia Xingchen could clearly feel the strong mental pressure coming from the men in front of him. There is no doubt that they are all legends. Only legends are qualified to join the Ascender Alliance. Passing through the brightly lit silver passage, Xia Xingchen entered the gathering place. This is a small square with many alloy chairs. Nearly 100 people are sitting around, waiting. Xia Xingchen also chose an inconspicuous position to sit down. What shocked Xia Xingchen was that the 100 people here were all legends. 100 legends can actually gather together, which is not a common scene. It is not easy for the Ascendant Alliance to gather 100 legends in the vast territory of the Milky Way and let them join their organization. In the outside world, Xia Xingchen is a well-deserved genius. However, in the Generation spaceship, Xia Xingchen is an ordinary member and inconspicuous. Well, the first bird to stick out will be shot. This time, I must keep a low profile and make a fortune in silence. Xia Xingchen thought secretly in his heart, looking at the members around him. The members are not young, most of them are over 40 years old. Even for geniuses, it takes a long time to become a legend. It is rare for someone like Xia Xingchen to become a legend in his early 20s. It is precisely because of this that Xia Xingchen's childish face is out of place among this group of slightly older legendary mecha masters and naturally attracted the attention of many people. Hey, young man. A middle-aged man with a beard came over and greeted Xia Xingchen. Behind the bearded man, there were 4 or 5 people following him. It was obvious that they were a small group. Xia Xingchen looked up at the bearded man and recognized him at a glance. He was a legendary strongman at the second level of the nebula. There were nearly 100 people in the small square, most of whom had just achieved legends. There were very few strongmen at the intermediate level of the nebula, and even fewer strongmen at the advanced level of the nebula. As for the planetary and stellar strongmen, there was no one. Could it be that the planetary and stellar strongmen disdain to join the Ascendant Alliance? Or, the Ascendant Alliance did not invite them at all? Xia Xingchen frowned slightly. Hello. Xia Xingchen nodded to the bearded man. Which examination area were you selected from? So young? You should be less than 30 years old. If I have seen you, I will definitely remember it. The bearded man extended his hand in a friendly manner. My name is Monroe, and my friends call me Big Beard. My name is. Xia Xingchen hesitated for a moment. Dracula. Xia Xingchen was too famous. If he reported his real name, he might cause some unnecessary trouble. Therefore, Xia Xingchen chose a pseudonym, and he did not intend to attract attention. What test area? Xia Xingchen looked at Monroe with a confused face. You don't even know the test area? Monroe was stunned, with a surprised expression on his face. I really don't know. Xia Xingchen said honestly, I was invited to join the Ascender Alliance. Aren't you? Suddenly, there was a sound of gasps around, and the legends around turned their heads, widened their eyes, and looked at Xia Xingchen in astonishment. Invited by the Ascender Alliance. And you are so young. Monroe smiled bitterly and shook his head. We are all selected from the test areas of various starfields after passing layers of tests, and we are qualified to join the Ascender Alliance. These tests are extremely difficult. The basic condition for participating is that you must be a legend or a quasi-legend. I have never seen someone like you who was directly invited to join the Ascender Alliance. The legends around also nodded one after another, with envy and jealousy in their eyes. Some people were not convinced and said, why can he, a child who hasn't even grown all his hair, be exempted from the test? We still have to go through layers of assessment. He is so young, and doesn't seem to have any outstanding qualities. Xia Xingchen could only shake his head and smile bitterly. He originally intended to keep a low profile, but inadvertently, he still caused some waves, and attracted the attention of many people. There is no way gold will shine wherever it goes. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1368 Strength Assessment. Xia Xingchen didn't have to wait long. 100 legendary mecha masters gathered in the small square, including himself. There were a total of 101 new members. Congratulations on your success in joining the Ascenders Alliance. Your strength is obvious to all, and you are also very lucky. Xiao Kong walked out with a smile and said to everyone, welcome. Congratulations on joining the big family of the Ascenders Alliance. Xia Xingchen and hundreds of legendary mecha masters all stood up. Most people looked a little excited. In order to join the Ascenders Alliance, they had suffered a lot and encountered many setbacks, and finally their dreams came true. There were also a small number of people, such as Xia Xingchen, who looked indifferent, neither sad nor happy. My name is Xiao Kong, and I'm an elder of the Ascenders Alliance. Some of you have heard of my name, and some have not. It doesn't matter. Joining the Alliance means that all the glory and splendor in the past has become a thing of the past. You are all standing on the same starting line now, and there is no distinction between high and low. Xiao Kong continued, let me first introduce the history of the Ascenders Alliance. We call ourselves Ascenders, and we are a race different from the humans in the galaxy. Different from humans? The Ascenders Alliance. Is it an alien organization? Are the rumors true? Are there celestial beings behind the Ascenders Alliance? Xiao Kong's words immediately set off an uproar, and many people whispered and discussed among themselves. Haha. Xiao Kong smiled, raised his hands, and slightly pressed them down, and the whole audience suddenly quieted down. As you can see, we are in a huge generational spaceship. The ancestors of the promoters, like the galactic humans, are from the Earth. You should have read the history of human exploration of the universe. The generational spaceships carry the hope of mankind, leave the Earth, and explore the universe. Galactic humans are one of the lucky ones. Most of the generational spaceships disappeared for various reasons. Only the galactic humans and the promoters survived. The difference is that the galactic humans have established a huge territory and become the overlords of the galaxy. The promoters, on the other hand, have embarked on another evolutionary path. Xiao Kong smiled slightly and said slowly, the promoters pay more attention to spiritual practice. The galactic humans have more advanced technology. In my opinion, there is no higher or lower between the two, but the paths they choose are slightly different. Our goals are the same. Evolve, advance, and become true celestial beings. Let the fire of human civilization burn forever in the universe. Many people nodded and agreed with Xiao Kong. The philosophy of the Ascendant Alliance can be summed up in one sentence. The Alliance is for me, and I'm for the Alliance. The Alliance will not restrict your personal freedom, and you can leave at any time. However, this means that you automatically give up the precious qualification of an Ascendant. According to your authority, there are 5 levels: ordinary members, elite members, core members, senior core members, and elders. At each level, you can use points to exchange for corresponding items in the Alliance. Mechas, rare materials, and meditation maps are all available. There is nothing that the Alliance does not have, except what you can't think of. The way to earn points is also very simple, which is to complete the tasks issued by the Alliance. More importantly, as long as you are a member of the Alliance, you can use the Alliance's meditation room regularly according to your authority. Xiao Kong's expression was very proud when he mentioned the meditation room. When the legends in the audience heard that they could use the meditation room,
Their eyes were also hot, and they seemed a little impatient. Is there anything special about the Ascendant Alliance's meditation room? Xia Xingchen thought to himself. The difficulty of the Alliance's missions is very high. Therefore, only elite members and above are qualified to carry out missions alone. Ordinary members must join the team to ensure your survival rate in the mission. In short, in order to facilitate your joining the team, we need to evaluate your strength now. Qiao Kang said solemnly. Strength evaluation? What to do? The Ascendant Alliance is very mysterious, and the legendary members present know nothing about the details of the Alliance. Are you going to let us fight in the ring? Is it to drive a mecha to fight, or to fight with bare hands? How is the evaluation done? Many legendary members shouted and asked for details. No need. Qiao Kang shook his head. For the Ascendant Alliance, your combat effectiveness in driving a mecha is not the key to the evaluation. The Alliance pays more attention to the level of mental power. Wait a minute, someone will use a special instrument to evaluate your mental power. The level is divided into 3 stars, the lowest is 1 star, and the highest is 3 stars. The higher the star level, it means that you can join a stronger team, perform more difficult tasks, and get Alliance points more easily than others. Everyone understood. The legends in the square lined up and walked towards a huge instrument one by one. A blue light shot out from the bottom of the instrument, covering the whole person. 1 star ordinary member. 1 star ordinary member. 2 star ordinary member. The huge instrument kept emitting electronic sounds. Seeing this scene, Xia Xingchen knew that this instrument was a large-scale mental power detector, but the star rating standard was too strict. Most of them were 1 star ordinary members. There were even few 2 star members. As for 3 star members, there was not a single one so far. Hey, I'm also a 1 star. Munro walked out of the instrument with a disappointed face. Those who can join the Ascender Alliance are all geniuses among geniuses. Munro was also quite conceited and thought that he was also a leader when he entered the Ascender Alliance. Unexpectedly, his rating was only 1 star, which hit him hard. The legends lined up and walked into the instrument one by one for testing. Soon it was Xia Xingchen's turn. It's the kid who was exempted from the test. Look at how many stars he has. If he is also only 1 star, it would be too embarrassing. It means he got in through the back door. The eyes of many legends fell on Xia Xingchen. Xia Xingchen had no expression on his face. He entered the instrument. The blue light enveloped Xia Xingchen. The evaluation time was obviously a few seconds longer than that of others. 3 star ordinary member. Wow. Hearing this voice, everyone in the audience cast their eyes on Xia Xingchen. The first 3 star. Not bad. I really found the right person. Qiao Kang smiled very proudly, looked at Xia Xingchen, nodded slightly in admiration. Xia Xingchen was very calm, left the instrument and walked aside. 3 stars. No wonder he was exempted from the test. He is so young, and he has already become a legend. His rating is far higher than ours. Who is he? Many legends are speculating on Xia Xingchen's identity. The strength evaluation is still going on. 1 star. 1 star. 2 stars. 3 star ordinary member. Everyone was in an uproar, and another 3 star rating was born. Among this batch of 101 new members, there are only 2 3 stars. Xia Xingchen also looked over curiously. It was a man in his early 30s with short black hair and a sharp look like a knife, which made people dare not look directly at him. Chapter 1369 Alliance Team. This man looks very strong. I wonder where he came from. The universe is so big, and there are so many human beings. There are indeed geniuses. Although I have had adventures and encountered several great opportunities to get to where I'm now, others also have opportunities and encounter adventures. In the Ascendant Alliance, my strength is very ordinary, and I must keep a low profile. Xia Xingchen glanced at the man and stopped thinking about it. Among the 110 new Ascendants, there are only 2 3 star ordinary members, 27 2 star ordinary members, and the rest are 1 star ordinary members. Your strength rating has ended. Qiao Kang still had a smiling face, and his voice was not loud, but it rang in everyone's ears. Next, you will get a metal bracelet, which is your proof of joining the Ascendant Alliance. The bracelet contains your life information and authority description. Within the signal range of this Ascendant Generation spaceship, you can connect to the Alliance's point small and exchange items at any time. In addition, the bracelet also has a communication function. You should make good use of it. After Kyo-kan finished speaking, more than a dozen staff members walked into the square and distributed wristbands to the new members. Xia Xingchen also quickly got his own wristband, which looked like a silver watch with a few buttons on it. On the surface, it looked ordinary. Xia Xingchen noticed that his wristband was a little different from others. There were 3 gold stars on it, while others had 2 or 1 gold star. It seems that these gold stars represent ordinary 3-star members. Press the button on the bracelet, and a 3-dimensional image is immediately projected. It is an interface of the Promoter Alliance. You can directly drag the options in the air with your fingers. There are many options such as the mall, team, contact, etc. Beep beep. Xia Xingchen's bracelet kept chirping, and the contact option on the lower right was also flashing. Xia Xingchen curiously clicked on the option, and it turned out to be dozens of friend requests. Hi, young man, you are very good, let's make friends. I heard that you got a 3-star rating. I envy you. Let's chat. Xia Xingchen originally intended to keep a low profile, but he was so dazzling that he attracted the attention of many people. Many promoted people sent friend requests to Xia Xingchen as soon as they got the bracelet. You are so close to me, but you didn't come to talk to me in person, but sent messages with the bracelet. Xia Xingchen was speechless. He didn't understand the use of the bracelet for the time being, so he had to ignore all the friend requests. After the friend request, there were more than a dozen messages of team invitations. Come on. Join our Xingchen team. The Xingchen team is strong and ranks 9th in the ranking of promoted teams. The team needs strong people like you. Freelancer. Ranked 3rd in the team rankings. They all carry out high difficulty tasks. If you are not afraid of death, come. Breath of the Starry Sky. Although our ranking is not high, the harmony within the team will make you feel at home. Come and join us. You will be the core when you come. There were more than a dozen team invitation messages, all with similar contents. Xia Xingchen glanced at the people around him. Most of them had not received any team invitation messages. A few 2-star members received them, but there were only a few, and the invitations were all from unknown small teams. The new members around were envious when they learned that Xia Xingchen had received a team invitation from the freelancers. The top 3 teams in the league are big teams, strong and well paid. You are really lucky. Hey, don't talk about the freelancers. Any team that can let me join Breath of the Stars will do. Someone sighed in frustration. From these people's words, Xia Xingchen realized that the threshold for joining the Promoter Alliance team was also very high. Most people need to go to the team's cabin, apply for interviews, take assessments, and get the approval of the core members of the team before they can officially join the team. As for those who can't join the team, they can only stay on the Promoted Generation spaceship, deal with some chores, earn pitiful points, and wait for the next opportunity. Like Xia Xingchen, he received more than a dozen team invitations at once, including a large team ranked in the top 3 of the Alliance, which is extremely rare. Don't worry, let me find out first. Xia Xingchen shook his head, constantly fiddling with the bracelet, and found the ranking list in the options. There are 2 ranking lists. One is the team points ranking list, and the other is the personal points ranking list. The ranking list is refreshed every month. According to the points ranking, the Promoter Alliance will give very generous material rewards to the top 10 teams and individuals. The top 3 teams are Hello, Iron and Blood and Freelancers. The top 3 in the personal points ranking list are also the captains of these 3 teams. The top 3 on both lists. It can be seen that the strength of these 3 teams is the strongest in the Alliance. Xia Xingchen was moved, thinking about whether to accept the invitation of the Freelancers team. A team is here to invite new members in person. Yes, it's the captains of several teams who can be invited by the team in person and become the lucky one. There was a noise in the square, and several strong men in armor came over, exuding a fascinating breath. Planetary level. Xia Xingchen's pupils shrank suddenly. These strong men were all planetary strong men above the legendary 3rd level. One of the planetary strong men walked straight towards Xia Xingchen. A moment later,
In a small bar, Xia Xingchen and the black-haired man who got a 3-star rating sat at a table. Opposite the table was a planetary strong man wearing black battle armor and exuding the aura of a strong man. This planetary strong man was the captain of the glory team, named Gal. The team ranked outside the top 20, with not many members, maintaining the 5th to 7th place. Gal's glory team is at a middle and lower level in the league's ranking. However, Gal came to invite Xia Xingchen and the black-haired man in person, so as new members, the two of them still had to give Gal some face. What do you think? Dracula and Guan Yu, would you two consider joining my glory team? I will give you the best resources, and even let you become the tactical core. You all have great potential, and if you go to other teams, it is likely that your talent will be lost. Gal didn't beat around the bush, and went straight to win them over. On the other side, Xia Xingchen and Guan Yu were listening to Gal's words, while looking at the information from various teams. Gal was not in a hurry either. He ordered 3 glasses of tequila from the robot bartender, and placed 2 glasses in front of Xia Xingchen and Guan Yu. He drank the wine slowly and waited quietly. I'm sorry. Guan Yu stood up first and said, no matter what I do, I must be the best. Except for the number 1 Halo team, I won't consider other teams. The Halo team entrance assessment is very difficult. Moreover, most teams will not accept those who are eliminated by Halo. Gal reminded. I want to try. Guan Yu said firmly. Okay then. Gal looked regretful. But thank you for inviting me. Guan Yu didn't even touch the glass, stood up, turned around and walked out of the bar. Chapter 1370 Joining Glory. Hey, looking at Guan Yu's back, Garrel looked helpless and shook his head slowly. Dracula, what's your choice? Garrel looked at Xia Xingchen and was surprised to find that the young man also looked helpless and shook his head slowly, with a mocking smile on his lips. Why do you look like this? What are you laughing at? Garrel asked curiously. I'm laughing. This guy named Guan Yu is so stupid. He wasted an opportunity to enter an excellent team. Xia Xingchen said directly. Excellent team? Are you talking about my glory team? Garrel was slightly startled, and the suspicion on his face became more intense. Yes, according to the limited data I have, the glory team is one of the best teams. Xia Xingchen smiled, slid his fingers, and a 3-dimensional image appeared in front of him, showing 2 rows of green numbers. One is the team points ranking of the glory team last month, 8760 points, ranking 29th. There are a total of 40 teams in the Promoter Alliance. This ranking is not high, and it is close to the bottom. The other is Garrel's points ranking 1400 points, personal ranking 190th. What's the use of this data? It's not that good. Gar blushed. Whether it was the team points or the individual points, they were not very good, and were in the middle and lower reaches of the league. However, Xia Xingchen said that the glory team was one of the best teams in the league. Gar felt that Xia Xingchen was mocking him. Of course data is useful. Xia Xingchen smiled. From the data, I can see that you have a good character. In fact, there are not many men as magnanimous as you in the universe. Gal was even more confused and scratched his head. If you join my team and become my team member, I'm the superior and you are the subordinate. It is not difficult to understand that you flatter me. But, you haven't officially joined yet, and you are flattering me so blatantly. It's not flattery. Xia Xingchen shook his head with a serious expression. Glory's team points are ranked 29th, which is not high. But for a small team of less than 10 people, it is already very good. But your personal points are lower? Why? The captains of other teams have very high personal points. I just checked the personal points of other members of the glory team, and I found something interesting. In your team, the points of other members are 1400, and those with less are 1300. You distribute the team points equally to everyone in the team. It is absolutely fair. The points task is completed by all members of the team. Is there anything wrong with my average score? Gar asked curiously. Xia Xingchen was speechless. There is an old saying in the Earth era that it is not poverty that is worrying, but inequality. Obviously Gar is a fairness person, and he believes in absolute fairness. The strength of the glory team may not be strong, but the atmosphere within the team must be very good. For Xia Xingchen, it doesn't matter which team he goes to. compared to going to a big team and being bullied by the old people in the team. Xia Xingchen would rather go to a small team with a good atmosphere and develop slowly. After all, Xia Xingchen does not intend to be an ordinary member forever. In short, I agree to your invitation and am willing to join the glory team. Captain Ga, Xia Xingchen said with a smile. Great. Ga was excited. Come on, I'll take you to the glory team room. Meet the other members. Okay. Xia Xingchen nodded and followed Ga out of the bar. The space of the Generation spaceship is very large, roughly divided into 4 large areas A, B, C, D, and the areas are divided into upper and lower floors. The exclusive room of the glory team is located on the upper floor of area B. It is very spacious and covers hundreds of square meters. There is a sofa in the room, and 4 people are playing poker around the table. When they saw Gal come in, the 4 people immediately put down their cards. A man with fiery red hair stood up and said with a smile, Captain, you are back so soon. Why did you bring back a young man? Didn't you say that you would recruit more newcomers to join the glory team this time? Hahaha, as expected, the newcomers were snatched away by the big teams. A bunch of idiots. Once they join the big teams, they are all cannon fodder and will be slaughtered like pigs. Hui, stop talking nonsense. I only brought back a new companion, but he alone is better than 10 ordinary people. Among the new members this time, there are 2 3-star ratings, and Dracula is one of them. You should know the meaning of 3-star ratings. Gal did not have the airs of a captain at all, and looked very proud. 3-star rating. Great potential. Captain, how much did you promise to dig him here? 3-star rating. Why not join a big team ranked high? Join us? Looks very young. Only in his 20s. I've never heard of the name Dracula. I've never heard of a famous family with this surname. The 4 people were all surprised and looked at Xia Xingchen with interest. Well, Dracula, let me introduce him. Ga said. Captain, let us introduce ourselves. Hui came over with a heroic smile on his face and extended his right hand in a friendly manner. Hui, a fire type mutant, the assaulter, blaster, and main combat member of the team. Planetary level junior. Another planetary level. Xia Xingchen was slightly surprised. In the Galactic Empire, legendary mecha masters are rarely seen, and it is extremely difficult to even see one. In the Ascender Alliance, everyone is a legend, and the glory team is a small team, and the members in it are all above the 3rd level of legend. It really makes Xia Xingchen a little embarrassed. With the help of Roger's dimensional cube, Xia Xingchen comprehended 2 key laws of the universe, but his field has not yet fully matured, and is stuck at the 2nd level of the legend, the threshold of the intermediate nebula. In other words, Xia Xingchen is still a beginner in the nebula. Moreover, fire-type psychics are relatively rare. There are even fewer advanced fire-type psychics. Every fire-type psychic has an extremely strong combat power. Xia Xingchen estimated in his mind that he could not be Hui's opponent in a head-on single-handed fight without using his trump card. A long-legged queen in a red short skirt, who looked to be in her 20s, with a pretty face and long black hair, walked over with her slender waist twisted, glanced at Xia Xingchen with seductive eyes, and said softly, "My name is Debbie, a water-type psychic, good at mixing various medicines, and a pharmacist. Young man, you taste so sweet, sister really wants to swallow you in one bite." Faced with Debbie's temptation, Xia Xingchen's heart was as calm as water and was unmoved. It must be said that Debbie is a very well-maintained woman. She is obviously in her 40s, but her skin is as tender as if she is in her 20s. Under Xia Xingchen's omniscience, none of her secrets can be hidden. Chapter 1371, Pharmacist and Meditation Room. Pharmacist Xia Xingchen was still surprised when he heard this profession. The reason why humans are strong is that they rely on their large numbers and their mechas. Mecha masters are undoubtedly the most respected profession in the galaxy. Many subsidiary professions have been extended from the profession of mecha masters, such as mecha designers, repairmen, and painters, and their status is even higher. However, there are some subsidiary professions whose status is no less than the former. For example, pharmacists. Low-level mental potions can be produced through machine assembly lines. However, high-level mental potions, like painting, must be specially prepared by pharmacists.
To become a pharmacist, the conditions are very harsh, no less than those of a painter. First of all, the pharmacist must have water-based abilities. Secondly, he must have pure mental power. And finally, he must have excellent sensitivity to mental power. In short, pharmacists are an extremely rare profession with a high status. Every pharmacist will be signed and protected by a large consortium, and will have no worries about food and clothing for the rest of his life. Everything has advantages and disadvantages. Like mecha designers, maintenance technicians, and painters, pharmacists need to learn a lot of professional knowledge and spend a lot of time studying hard in their professional fields. People's energy is always limited, and you can't have your cake and eat it too. Practicing as a pharmacist means giving up meditation. It is very difficult for most pharmacists to achieve legends. Debbie is only in her 40s, and she is relatively young among pharmacists. What's more, she has already achieved legends, and like Huoli, she is a planetary primary powerhouse. The Glory team is a team ranked in the lower middle. How can there be such a hidden dragon and crouching tiger? How strong are the people in those large teams, ranked at the top? Xia Xingchen was shocked. My name is Zuemo. I have the ability of pupil technique, and I'm responsible for long-range sniping in the team. Planetary primary. A tall man stood up and said, my name is Ying. I'm good at assassination. A small old man said, they are all strong. Xia Xingchen took a breath, shook hands with the 4 people one by one, and introduced himself. Dracula. Mecha repairman. Painter. Nebula Jr. Good at close combat. Mecha repairman. He is also a painter. Oh my god. Captain Gal, you have picked up a treasure this time. No wonder he is rated 3 stars. He is actually a painter. Hahaha. With Dracula, the strength of our team will leap to a high level. When the 5 people heard about Xia Xingchen's auxiliary profession, they were all stunned on the spot. They were silent for a long time before they woke up from the shock, and then they were ecstatic. It's just a mecha repairman and a painter. Is it rare? Xia Xingchen looked confused. He just came from the Coffin Star. On the Coffin Star, mecha repairman is a common profession. Any researcher can repair mechas more or less. As for the painters, although they are rare, there are also special training centers on the Coffin Star, where trainees are constantly being trained to become painters. The technological level of the Ascendant Alliance is only higher than that of the Coffin Star. This is not the Chaos Star region. Why are Gar and others so ecstatic when they hear that they are painters? Hahaha, Dracula, you don't know yet. Although the technological level of the Alliance is very high, the technology tree is completely different from that of the galactic humans. The Ascendants are better at spiritual practice, and the mecha technology is a blind spot. Of course, there are also several mecha repairmen and painters in the Alliance. But there are so many people in the Alliance, and everyone has to find them to repair and maintain their mechas. When their mechas are broken, it takes several months just to queue up. Moreover, they have all joined the team, and if you want to find him to maintain the mecha, you need to pay a large amount of Alliance points. Gar rubbed his hands excitedly, his face full of smiles. I see. Xia Xingchen nodded slightly, and then he understood. There is a sequence in learning, and there is a specialization in skills. As far as Xia Xingchen knows, even the celestial beings, with such advanced technology, are good at different fields of technology. Mecha technology is not a common technology in the universe. The elder celestial beings are good at mental power, and do not need to study mecha. The mechanical celestial beings are made of steel, and do not need to study mecha. Celestial beings like the Zerg are naturally strong, and do not need to study mecha. Although the galaxy humans relied on mechas to conquer the entire territory of the Milky Way. However, from the perspective of the universe, mecha technology is a marginalized niche technology. In short, you can exchange anything in the Alliance Mall. Don't exchange anything related to mechas. It's too bad. Debbie reminded softly. Exchange things in the mall? It's easy to say. Are the points you earn enough for you to enter the meditation room? Huoli curled his lips and said loudly. When the meditation room was mentioned, several people suddenly looked bleak and sighed. Huoli, where are the other people? Gal asked. Where else can they be? The meditation room. Huoli said. Bang. At this time, the door was pushed open heavily.
Two men walked in. The leader was a bald man with an angry face. The one behind him was terribly thin with sunken eye sockets, like a skeleton. Look, Mark and Ban are back from the meditation room. Huo shrugged his shoulders, sat on the sofa, crossed his legs on the table, and looked like he was watching a good show. Mark, what's wrong? Why are you so angry? Gar asked with a smile. Why? Of course it's the meditation room. It requires too many points. It's simply a bottomless pit that eats people without spitting out bones. Mark strode over, took a bottle of whiskey on the table, opened the bottle, and poured it into his mouth. Ban also nodded. He didn't like to talk. He stood alone in the corner, looking at Xia Xingchen curiously. Meditation room. This meditation room again. Xia Xingchen thought that Kyo Kang specifically mentioned that the members of the promoted were eligible to use the meditation room. Of course, there is no free lunch in the world, and using the meditation room is definitely not free. Judging from what Mark and the others said, it takes a lot of points to enter the meditation room for practice. So many that they had to invest all the points they earned into entering the meditation room, and they didn't even have points to shop in the mall. Since it costs so many points to enter the meditation room, why do we still want to enter? Xia Xingchen asked curiously. Mark looked up and saw Xia Xingchen at this time. He was stunned and turned to ask Gar, who is he? Dracula, a new member of our team. Although his mental power level is a bit low, he has great potential. He is also a mecha repairman and painter. Gar introduced. Dracula, young man. My name is Mark. Nice to meet you. I was too angry just now and didn't notice you. Ha ha ha. Mark walked over with a smile and shook hands with Xia Xingchen. Although Mark looks rough, he is actually a very easy to talk person. Ben didn't come over to shake hands with Xia Xingchen, but just nodded slightly to say hello. Dracula, you are a newcomer, so it is normal that you don't understand some things. The meditation room of the Alliance is completely different from the meditation rooms in other places. We are all legends. Meditating in an ordinary meditation room will have little effect. You need to work hard every day, practice hard, and accumulate slowly. However, every time you enter the meditation room of the Alliance, your mental power will be greatly improved. At your current level, you only need to go to the meditation room once, which takes about 3 hours, and I guarantee that you will break through and become a nebula intermediate. Mark explained with a smile. So magical? Xia Xingchen was stunned. Chapter 1372, Sky High Price Materials. Most of the equipment on this Ascendant generation spaceship is second-hand goods, far inferior to the technological level of the Empire. Only the meditation room is different. I don't know what kind of technology is used in this meditation room. Practicing meditation in it can improve the efficiency of meditation by 100 times, or 1000 times, or even 10,000 times. What's more exaggerated is that the meditation room is effective for everyone. Unfortunately, there are too many people using it, and a lot of points are required, and you need to make an appointment and queue up. Gar sighed, with a look of regret. How many points are required? Xia Xingchen asked curiously. It costs 1000 points for 1 hour, and you need to make an appointment 1 to 2 months in advance. It depends on the level of the member. Ordinary members can make an appointment for a maximum of 3 hours at a time. Elite members have 6 hours. Core members have 12 hours. Senior core members have 24 hours. Elders have no limit. Gar said. Xia Xingchen frowned slightly. According to Gar, the Ascendant Alliance is a place with clear levels and strict classes, which is even worse than the Galactic Empire. Of course, if an organization wants to be strong, it naturally has to make some rules. Compared to member privileges, it is more difficult to obtain points. In the Alliance, whether it is food, clothing, housing or transportation, points are required for redemption. The daily expenses of an ordinary member are about 500 points a month. I'm the captain of the glory team, and I can only obtain about 1500 points a month. I can only save 1000 points by living frugally. I have to work hard for 3 or 4 months to enter the meditation room once, and I spend all the points in just a few hours. Gar sighed again. Xia Xingchen sighed secretly. If calculated according to this ratio, the cost of entering the meditation room is indeed amazing.
However, Alliance members still flock to the meditation room. After all, entering the meditation room to meditate can greatly enhance the efficiency of cultivation. It can even be said that the current scale of the Ascendant Alliance and the ability to attract so many legendary mecha masters are all due to this meditation room. Gar looked at Xia Xingchen. Dracula, you have great potential, but your mental strength level is a bit low. I have made an appointment for the meditation room today for 3 hours. I will give you this opportunity. Such a precious opportunity? Give it to me. Xia Xingchen was shocked. He knew that Gal was a good person, but he didn't expect that Gal was so good. Yes, I'll give it to you. Gal smiled carefreely. With your potential, you are willing to join my team, which is a face for me. Naturally, I have to give you some gifts. This opportunity to enter the meditation room is given to you as a gift. Isn't this bad? Xia Xingchen was still hesitant. Xia Xingchen and Gal met by chance. They had known each other for less than a few hours, and Gal was going to give up such a precious opportunity to himself. Xia Xingchen felt bad. Dracula, just accept it. Captain Gal is such a person. He actually had many opportunities to make himself stronger. But he gave all these opportunities to us. Huoli, Debbie, Mark and others also persuaded him. After thinking for a while, Xia Xingchen bowed to Gar and said, Captain, I appreciate your kindness. However, I have other plans than entering the meditation room. I need to exchange some mecha materials in the Alliance Mall. Other legendary mecha masters have a great demand for meditation rooms because their way of absorbing mental energy is very simple and can only be accumulated slowly through meditation. However, Xia Xingchen is different. He has the source of faith and has mastered the legendary skill Heaven and Man in Harmony. Most importantly, Xia Xingchen can continuously absorb the power of faith from the Chaos Star Domain, the Star Domain Arc, and the new Wanshi Star to transform it into mental energy. Xia Xingchen joined the Ascender Alliance for a clear purpose. First, try to obtain points to exchange for White Tiger Genjin and Basalt Ice Crystal, two important materials for making Basalt Mecha and White Tiger Mecha. Second, through the Ascender Alliance, quickly improve his mental level. What Xia Xingchen needs most now is not a large amount of mental energy, but to comprehend the mysteries of the universe and perfect his own field, so that he has the opportunity to enter the Nebula Intermediate level. Oh, mecha materials. Promoters are not good at mecha technology. The mecha materials in the mall are common goods and not expensive. What materials do you want? Just ask, I will give them to you as a gift. Mark patted his chest, looking generous. White Tiger Genjin, Black Tortoise Ice Crystal. Xia Xingchen whispered. I haven't heard of the name. It should be a rare material. Mark was startled and hurriedly pressed his bracelet, operated the search interface, and entered the name to search in the mall. Ding ding ding, you are an ordinary member. Insufficient search authority. A mechanical electronic sound came from the bracelet. What? Just 2 mecha materials? I don't have enough authority. Mark was shocked. How is it possible? The other members didn't believe it, and they also used their bracelets to search, and the results were all insufficient authority. For a moment, everyone was dumbfounded. Let me try. After all, Gar is the captain, with the highest authority in the team, and is an elite member. Only elite members are qualified to form a team, and ordinary members need to spend 10,000 points to upgrade to elite members. In order to collect these points, Gar worked hard in the Alliance for nearly 2 years. Basalt Ice Crystal, White Tiger Genjin. Gar muttered to himself and entered the names of the materials. I found that the Alliance does have these 2 materials. Basalt Ice Crystal, 10,000 points. White Tiger Genjin, 15,000 points. Well, I only have the right to browse, not the right to buy. Only core members can buy these 2 materials. Gar was surprised. 10,000 points, 15,000 points. Everyone couldn't help but smack their lips with shock on their faces. Brother Dracula, these 2 things are indeed a bit expensive. However, if you work hard to carry out the mission, you should be able to collect the points in 1 to 2 years. Even if you don't have enough points, we will help you find a way, don't worry. Debbie smiled softly and persuaded Xia Xingchen to relax. The other members were also very generous, saying that if Xia Xingchen couldn't collect the points by then, they could lend in points to help him make up for it. Xia Xingchen felt a warm current in his heart. His guess was correct. The Glory team was not the strongest team in the alliance, but the atmosphere here was very good. Everyone was warm and friendly, giving Xia Xingchen a feeling of home. Ahamgar coughed dryly, with a bitter smile on his face, interrupting everyone. I think everyone should still worry about it. We can't afford the points required for these two materials. Isn't it just 25,000 points? Why can't we afford it? The team members were all stunned. I didn't see the unit clearly just now. The unit of the two mecha materials is kilograms. In other words, 1 kilogram of basalt ice crystal is 10,000 points. 1 kilogram of white tiger Zhengjin is 15,000 points. Dracula, you want these two things, should it be to make mechas? The materials used in mechas often require hundreds of kilograms, or even thousands of kilograms. That requires millions, or even tens of millions of points. All of us in the Glory team combined, we can't get so many points in our lifetime. Even for the top 3 teams in the alliance, it's hard to afford it. It's too expensive. I advise you to give up as soon as possible. Gare said helplessly. Chapter 1373, Boundless Star Abyss. Millions or even tens of millions of points. Upon hearing this astonishing astronomical figure, all the members of the Glory team were stunned. What kind of mecha materials are these two? They are so expensive. Huo couldn't help but smack his lips. Xia Xingchen's face only changed slightly, and he didn't feel too surprised. 4 sacred beast mechas, azure dragon, vermilion bird, black tortoise, and white tiger. The main material of the azure dragon mecha is the azure dragon sacred wood. Xia Xingchen was able to buy a whole section of the azure dragon sacred wood on the Black Tower Star because of good luck. The main material of the vermilion bad mecha is the energy crystal of the 3-legged golden crow. In order to make the vermilion bad mecha, Xia Xingchen took the risk and hunted on a star that was about to be destroyed. The materials for making the black tortoise mecha and the white tiger mecha can be exchanged for points. Although a lot of points are required, the difficulty of obtaining them is far less than hunting the 3-legged golden crow. It doesn't matter, points, just earn them slowly. Xia Xingchen smiled faintly, his expression calm. Everyone in the Glory team shook their heads helplessly, not knowing what to say. Captain Gar hesitated to speak, and finally chose to remain silent. In their opinion, Dracula was a newcomer, and didn't know how difficult it was to earn points. After he completed a few missions, he would naturally understand that it was out of reach for ordinary alliance members to exchange these two high-priced materials. Maybe at that time, he would naturally choose to give up. Next, Xia Xingchen submitted an application through the bracelet and joined the Glory squad under the pseudonym of Dracula. In the following days, Xia Xingchen followed Gar, familiarized himself with the general situation of the Ascendant Generation spacecraft, and listened to him talk about some basic situations of the mission. Xia Xingchen listened carefully and felt that he benefited a lot. What? The starfield we are in now is the infinite star abyss. Xia Xingchen exclaimed as he looked at the distant and dim starry sky outside the porthole. Yes. To be precise, we are in the middle and upper layers of the infinite star abyss. There is still starlight here, but if we go deeper, there is an absolutely dark space. Even light has become a luxury. Gar introduced. Most of the tasks of the Ascendant Alliance are to explore the infinite star abyss. Explore the infinite star abyss? Why? Xia Xingchen was surprised. Well, from the perspective of the entire alliance, we are the lowest level members, with insufficient authority, and do not know the true intentions of the Ascendant Alliance. I can only tell you some rumors. Gar said. Yeah. Xia Xingchen nodded. As the saying goes, there is no smoke without fire. Since there is insufficient information, maybe he can guess the general idea from the rumors. You should have heard that some cosmologists believe that our universe is hourglass shaped. We are in the normal universe, located at one end of the hourglass. At the other end of the hourglass is another universe filled with dark matter, which some scholars also call the dark universe. The top leaders of the alliance seem to think that the infinite star abyss is the channel connecting the two ends of the hourglass.
As long as you can pass through the infinite star abyss, you can reach the dark universe. Gar explained. I have heard the professor talk about the cosmic hourglass in class at school. However, it is a bit far-fetched to say that the endless star abyss is the passage to the dark universe. Xia Xingchen laughed immediately. This statement was really outrageous. It's like, in the ignorant era of the Earth era, all human beings thought that the Earth was the center of the universe. Later, they believed that the sun was the center of the universe. Later, in the era of the universe, the Milky Way was believed to be the center of the universe. The universe is so big that even for humans, the vast and boundless Milky Way is just one of the many galaxies in the universe. Endless star abyss is the passage to the dark universe. If it is true, it is too coincidental. In Xia Xingchen's view, Endless Star Abyss and the former Ghost Ship and Devil Star have become the three major starry sky forbidden areas in the Chaos Star domain. Although mysterious, it is not too exaggerated. I think it's outrageous too. Gar also laughed. Then I'll tell you a rumor that you are more likely to accept. It is said that the Endless Star Abyss is the tomb of a super civilization. As long as you reach the bottom of the Endless Star Abyss, you can find the legacy left by this super civilization, which is enough for the entire human race to be promoted to heaven. Therefore, the promoted people spared no effort and kept searching. This statement is a little more reliable. No matter what, the important thing is the mission. I can't wait to perform the mission and earn points. Xia Xingchen waved his hand and said with a smile, well, the glory team has rested after this period of time. It's time to perform the mission. Gar took Xia Xingchen back to the exclusive room of the glory team, handed over all the members, opened the task interface on the bracelet, and prepared to select a suitable task. During this time, Xia Xingchen has figured out the basic functions of the bracelet. There are two types of tasks, one is personal tasks and the other is team tasks. Personal tasks have fewer points and are less difficult. However, only elite members have the right to receive them. Xia Xingchen is now an ordinary member and needs to pay 10,000 points to the Alliance before he can be promoted to an elite member. Team missions have high points and high difficulty. According to the difficulty, they are roughly divided into 9 levels, 1 to 9. Level 1 is the lowest difficulty, and level 9 is the highest difficulty. As for the points reward, it is also based on the difficulty of the mission. For a level 1 mission, the total points are about 10,000. The level 2 difficulty is directly increased by 10 times. The level 3 difficulty is increased by 100 times. And so on. If you complete a level 3 mission once, you can get 1 million points. Then if I complete a level 4 mission, can't I directly exchange it for the 2 materials I want? Xia Xingchen couldn't help asking. Level 4 mission. Gar sighed. As far as I know, only the top 3 large teams in the Alliance have the strength to perform level 4 missions. Other teams have a hard time performing level 3 missions. And our honor team has been performing level 1 missions. Take a look at the mortality rate of level 3 and level 4 missions. Xia Xingchen nodded and opened the bracelet to check. Level 3 missions, the mortality rate is 60%. Level 4 missions, the mortality rate is 80%. The mortality rate is so high. After performing a mission, more than half of the people participating in the mission will die. Xia Xingchen exclaimed. Yes. Level 3 and 4 missions are very difficult, and the mortality rate is extremely high. And there are many missions that require death. Gar nodded. Even if it is the top 3 teams in the Alliance, it would be a big loss if so many people died in a level 4 mission. Xia Xingchen asked curiously. So, they need a lot of newcomers as cannon fodder, and let them die. The core members of the team, on the other hand, reap the benefits, and use the lives of their companions, to exchange for a lot of points. What they do is inhumane, worse than beasts. Gar's face was full of anger, and he gritted his teeth and said, the Mecha Master who was rated as 3 stars, like you seems to be named Guan Yu. If he fails the team exam, it's still a good thing. If he passes, and successfully joins the 3 major teams, then he will not be far from death. So, I say you are smart, and he is a fool. Chapter 1374 mission begins. Captain, how do you know these things? Xia Xingchen asked in a low voice. Gal shook his head, put his hands behind his back, walked to the porthole, and stared at the endless darkness outside.
Debbie came to Xia Xingchen and whispered, "The captain used to be a member of the 3 major teams. It is said that he was a core member and his position was not low. However, he really couldn't stand what those people did, and then something happened." Xia Xingchen nodded slightly, looking at Gal's tall back, and thought to himself, it turns out that he is also a man with a story. Gal's philosophy is very simple. Even if the points are a little less, the team members must not be killed. In fact, with the combat effectiveness of the Glory team, it is also easy to perform the second level mission. However, Gal did not want to take risks. He did not want to see his teammates die in front of him. After Xia Xingchen joined the Glory team, he used very few points to exchange some mecha parts on the Alliance Mall. The damaged mechas of the Glory team were repaired. The performance of each mecha has been improved by 30% to 50%. Time was too short, so Xia Xingchen did not make spiritual power paint for his teammates. Otherwise, the combat power of the Glory team would definitely double. This is the power of the mecha repairman. Even so, when the team members saw the brand new mecha with a much improved performance, they were all surprised, and their morale was soaring. Originally, the Glory team only performed the first level mission. In this case, Gar also gritted his teeth and received a second level mission. The points reward is 100,000. If the mission is completed, all members of the Glory team can get more than 10,000 points. It is equivalent to their previous busy work for a year. Let's go and perform the mission. After this rest, the Glory team is finally going to perform the mission in the Infinite Star Abyss, the Ascended Generation spaceship, the aviation dock. Hundreds of small starships are parked at the aviation dock, with the team's logo on the hull. Starships are constantly taking off to perform missions. There are also starships returning from missions. Most of the starships are small starships, about 100 meters long. There are also a small number of medium-sized starships, which are thousands of meters long. The owners of these medium-sized starships are basically the top-ranked teams. They have too many members, and the small starships simply cannot accommodate them. Let's go. Get on our Glory. Gal brought the team members to the air dock, pointed to a cigar-shaped silver small starship in front, and said in a low voice, "Yes. Let's go and carry out the mission." Gal was the first to drive the mecha aboard, and parked his mecha in the mecha workshop. Other team members Huoli, Debbie, Mark, Ban and others also boarded the ship quickly one by one. Produced by Tang Dynasty Group. Universal Small Space Starship. After Xia Xingchen boarded the ship, he saw the logo of Tang Dynasty Group at a glance. After this period of time, Xia Xingchen has already had a general understanding of the Ascendant Alliance. The technological level of the Ascendant Alliance is indeed not high. Whether it is a starship or a mecha, they are all bought from the military-industrial enterprises of the Galactic Empire. However, in terms of spiritual power cultivation, the Alliance is very good. Not to mention the magical meditation room. In the Alliance Mall, points can be exchanged for legendary meditation techniques. Although, none of these meditation techniques can compare to Xia Xingchen's harmony between man and nature. However, from Roger's mouth, Xia Xingchen knew that, even if an ordinary legendary meditation technique spread to the Empire, it would cause an uproar, and even a bloody snatch. In short, the starship itself is a means of transportation. Unless it is advanced to the level of the Star Domain Arc, there is not much difference. To carry out missions and fight, all depends on mechas. Xia Xingchen no longer thought about it, and entered the cabin. Beep. The cabin closed. Glory applies for sailing. In the bridge, Gal said solemnly to the communicator in the captain's chair. Allowed to sail. A crisp and soft female voice came from the communicator. On the ground, there were many staff members holding red and green batons in their hands, guiding the Glory to slowly enter the channel, pass through several sealed doors, and then enter the universe. My star arc, small starships and mecha center and exit, all with short distance teleportation. Xia Xingchen was speechless. The gap in technology level is too big. The Glory entered the universe, and began to slowly accelerate, preparing to jump, enter the subspace, and conduct curvature navigation. Xia Xingchen stood in front of the porthole at the rear, looking out the window, with surprise on his face. It's so spectacular. Xia Xingchen couldn't help but exclaim. This is the full view of the generational spaceship. Xia Xingchen was shocked, staring at the huge steel ship floating in the dark starry sky, like a planet. Majestic. Great. Xia Xingchen couldn't think of a suitable word to describe the huge generational spaceship. It's incredible that humans in the Earth era can build such a huge spaceship. At some point, Debbie quietly came to Xia Xingchen's side and sighed in a low voice. Faced with the pressure of survival, civilization will burst out with extraordinary energy. The skinny and expressionless Ben also came over, with a strange light flashing in his eyes. Subspace. The glory small starship was sailing at a curvature speed. The optical computer showed that it was still 48 hours away from the destination. Meeting room. Gar stood in front of the three-dimensional image and was explaining the goal of this mission. The goal of this mission is to seize the eggs of the tunnel worm, at least 10. The activity of the eggs must be above 95%. Gar said. Except for Xia Xingchen, the other team members were all experienced. When they heard the word tunnel worm, they all frowned. The second level mission is really difficult. We have to deal with the Zerg. Mark sighed. The tunnel worm is really a difficult enemy. Huo Lai couldn't help shaking his head. Zerg. Xia Xingchen's body trembled, and the experience of the demon star emerged in his mind. An egg enslaved the alien demons on the demon star, and finally almost destroyed this powerful demon race. In the end, the egg was hatched, and the Kingstar pirates paid a painful price, and several legendary strongmen died before they sealed it. To this day, the egg fell into the hands of one Qianxing, and no one knows what happened to it. The boundless star abyss is so vast that no one has yet explored its end. The abyss is filled with dangers and there are many space cracks. Space storms can rage at any time. In addition to the dangerous natural environment, there are also several powerful races. The Void Brain Demon is the most common and the weakest. However, they often appear in groups of tens of thousands, and it is very troublesome to be entangled by them. The second is the Zerg. Gal patiently explained the horror of the boundless star abyss to Xia Xingchen, the newcomer. Chapter 1375 Tunnel Worm. Zerg is a general term. Zerg is divided into many races. Tunnel worms are one of the stronger ones. Gal pressed his fingers a few times, and the three-dimensional projection in the air changed. A pattern appeared, and there was an explanatory text next to it. Tunnel worms. Danger level, S. Tunnel worms have an extremely long lifespan. The danger level increases with the lifespan. The egg state poses almost no threat to humans. Tunnel worms over 1,000 years old are classified as S. Their strength is equivalent to that of a star-level warrior. It is recommended that weak teams flee immediately after encountering them. Star-level warriors. Xia Xingchen took a breath. So far, he has only seen 3 star-level warriors. They are Oja, Michael, and Kao Kang. Kirissa and Andre are quasi-celestial beings, and have surpassed the scope of the star level. Our goal is the eggs. If you encounter a strong tunnel worm, escape immediately at all costs. Gal said. Dracula, I will pass you this information about the tunnel worm. Take a closer look when you go back. I don't want anyone to get into trouble during the mission. Understood. Xia Xingchen nodded. After returning to his cabin, Xia Xingchen immediately began to study the information about the tunnel worm. Most Zergs live in groups. For example, the most powerful group is the Star Devourer. The structure of the entire group is similar to a bee colony, with the queen as the leader. The queen has extremely powerful mental power and can release strong mental waves to control thousands of male Zergs. The tunnel worm is an alien species of the Zerg, a creature that likes to be alone. They have a high IQ and can communicate with humans and other Zerg through brain waves. The size is generally between 50 meters and 500 meters, covered with thick shells on the outside, and the flesh is very strong, able to withstand the bombardment of the main guns of starships. The tunnel worm does not like to live on planets, but can survive in outer space relying on its strong flesh. Tunnel worms like to hollow out meteorites, use them as their homes, and wander in the starry sky with meteorites. Their main food is the rare minerals contained in meteorites, and they also feed on carbon-based organisms. They are omnivorous creatures. The only weakness of tunnel worms is that they have almost no vision. However, tunnel worms have strong mental power, which can perceive the surrounding space through mental power, making up for the lack of vision of tunnel worms. Beep. Xia Xingchen turned off the three-dimensional projection, lay on the bed, crossed his hands behind his head, and closed his eyes. It's so interesting that there are such strange and powerful creatures in the tunnel worm universe. Xia Xingchen raised the corners of his mouth and smiled. Xia Xingchen is still very young. He likes adventure and exploring the unknown of the universe. The endless star abyss, such a dark star field, is not empty, but has different biological groups from the Milky Way. What about outside the Milky Way? The entire universe hides too many mysteries, waiting for Xia Xingchen to discover and explore. 48 hours later, the small starship Glory arrived at the target starfield, ended its curvature navigation, and returned to normal universe from the subspace. This starfield is the territory of the tunnel worms. Everyone, be careful and don't act rashly. Safety comes first. In the conference room, Ge reminded repeatedly, and at the same time he pointed to an asteroid belt outside, with countless meteorites floating in the dark starry sky. Tunnel worms like to build nests in asteroid belts. What we have to do is to find the nests of tunnel worms and steal the eggs when they are foraging. Try to avoid direct contact with tunnel worms. Captain, we all know it. Mark touched his bald head and said with a smile, don't be so fussy, we have known these things for a long time. Be careful, and Dracula should be careful too. He is a newcomer, his mental strength is weak, and he is a mecha repairman, so his combat effectiveness is definitely not strong. Well, there is Debbie. Huli nodded, looked at the only female team member, and said solemnly, wait a minute, you and Dracula will follow behind Mark and me, and the two of us will protect you. Debbie is a pharmacist and Xia Xingchen is a mecha repairman. Both of their affiliated professions are extremely popular. However, in general mecha masters with subsidiary professions have to divide their energy into the subsidiary professions and learn a lot of knowledge. If they study hard in this field, the time for meditation and actual combat will be occupied. Therefore, the combat effectiveness of mecha masters with subsidiary professions is much weaker than that of mecha masters who specialize in combat. Of course, this is the general situation, and it does not include Xia Xingchen. Well, I understand. I won't drag my feet again. Debbie's face flushed slightly, and she said quickly, I understand. Xia Xingchen also nodded gently. Well, in case of a battle, you two should be more vigilant, and don't fall behind. We will all be distracted to protect you. If you see anyone in danger, just support them. Gal said in a deep voice, remember, don't be brave. This is the boundless star abyss. An unknown place with countless dangers. The Glory starship turned on the stealth system and quietly approached the edge of the asteroid belt. The class stayed behind on the spacecraft. The others drove the mecha and entered the interior of the asteroid belt. Asteroid belt. In a huge meteorite. The diameter of the meteorite is 10 kilometers, and the interior is completely hollowed out, forming a huge cavity. In the center of the meteorite, a huge insect pupa of 300 meters long is hanging upside down, covered with a layer of mucus. Below the pupa, there are hundreds of oval insect eggs of 10 meters high and 3 meters in diameter. Through the film, you can see that there are insects hatching inside. Buzz buzz buzz. 2 insects that are 100 meters long and look like moths fly into the meteorite and stop in front of the pupa. Erichi, what do you mean? You actually invaded my and Nice's territory. Isn't the food in your territory enough for you to eat? The 2 moths are the clones of the tunnel worms. One is called Nice and the other is called Callan. This asteroid belt was originally their territory. Now, there is an uninvited guest here, the Zerg called Erichi in front of him. Erichi is still in the pupa, and the surface is covered with a layer of dark red keratin armor with dense patterns on it, which is very beautiful. Don't you see I'm raising a child? It needs a lot of food. Erichi said calmly. You are raising a child, don't we raise children? Nice said angrily. You are the elder of my tribe, more than 1,000 years old. That's why Callan and I came to question you. Otherwise, we would have teamed up to drive you out long ago. Erichi, don't go too far. We tunnel worms are all runners, and we don't have any friendships to speak of. Even if it's you, if you go too far, we won't hesitate to go to war. Another Callan shouted. Go to war? No. I'm leaving. Leaving immediately. Erichi's worm pupa was trembling, as if it was afraid. End of this chapter.
Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.